Does the black moon howl?
Only for those with an unwavering desire to hear the truth.
Access granted.
You have been selected for an opportunity, an orientation as a trusted associate, if you will, into the secured, contained, and protected files of the Foundation. SCP Unredacted distributes new files for review Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Eastern on secure channels on YouTube, Spotify, and scp-unredacted.captivate.fm.
Hello and welcome to the Skip Squad Pod trailer. I'm your host, T Staff4.
And I am your lovely other host, Look Psycho. Also, just wondering, how did you get my house?
Who cares? We're recording the podcast trailer.
Well, it's not the first time she's busted down my door. You gotta stop. I can't afford to replace it again.
Now, let's tell the listeners what we do here. Is it too meta to mention we're reading a script?
You wanna talk meta? I didn't know what to put here, so I'm talking about what I should put here.
She also misspelled want.
Anyway.
Right. Back on track. Here at the Skip Squad Pod cast, we don't care about what you write, we care about what you love.
Keeping you entertained with what our authors enjoy most as readers, from GOI formats to formal articles alike.
We don't just talk about guests' favorite SCPs. Each guest will also tell us about their passions and hobbies, completely unrelated to the Foundation.
Whether it's robotics, music, or filmmaking, each guest has their own passions that we love to hear about as well.
You, yes you, the listener, can participate in this along with us. If you send in emails over at skipsquadpod@gmail.com, we will read them out on the show.
When we aren't recording the pod, we document our ventures on various platforms.
You can find us on our YouTube channel or wherever you get your podcasts.
We also have a Twitter where we post preview clips for upcoming episodes along with revealing who we will have on next. Our handle is @SkipSquadPod.
And finally, our website with links to all the listening platforms can be found on the SCP Wiki itself at the Skip Squad Pod Hub.
Now get out.
And have fun. Smile.
Hey there, SCP fans. My name is Grigori Karpin, and this is Simply Creative People, the show about SCP creatives, be they authors, artists, or offsite content creators like YouTube and TikTok. We're focused on bridging the gap between various fans and serving as an introduction to different concepts and stories on the wiki. So, many welcomes to all, and let's get started. All right, welcome back
I thought you
to...
were gonna say clap.
That's how we start this one.
You said clap.
That's true, I should have.
And
Anyway...
clapping, you changed it up.
Welcome back to episode 22 of Simply Creative People. As always, I'm Grigori Karpin, and joined by...
I am the HD enhanced remake of Harry Blank.
That's right, brand new mic, people.
Woo! Advertising money.
And you've already heard our guest, so Kinch, hello.
Hi, I'm Kinchtheknifeblade.
That's right. That's true. The full name is probably better. I'm just not going to say... Yeah, I'm not going to say Kinchtheknifeblade each time, but...
No,
I am.
That's fine.
That's a James Joyce thing, by the way.
Is it? I never really read any
It's from
Joyce.
Ulysses. It's, there's a character named Buck Mulligan that just, keeps showing up, and he just, makes fun of Stephen Dedalus, and it's basically, he's calling him, an edgy little kid. And he calls him Kinchtheknifeblade the whole time.
That's
really
a great
funny.
reference.
Uh-huh.
Very,
Yeah,
very
it's a great
erudite.
reference because I have to explain it every time. Nobody's ever gotten it.
Yeah,
Yes,
I
the best
tried.
reference is the one where you need to make sure everybody knows that you're smart because you have to tell them.
That's right.
I have to explain it.
I tried to read Ulysses and just failed.
You
Most
have
people.
to read another book with it.
Yeah, I just...
Like there's a book that helps you read it.
It needs to be
It's by
annotated.
somebody named Blamirez. That's the
Nice.
book we used. It's really good. Blamires, I believe. It's really it's worth it.
Fair enough.
Wow, this is way elevated the level of discourse
I know.
for literary analysis for real literature
I know.
instead of poop statue.
I just
SCP.
read crap science fiction SCP all over and over again. That's not true, but lately it's just been a lot of Warhammer 40k, but whatever.
Yeah, you got nothing to talk about.
Yeah, nothing. So Kinch, this is kind of trite, and we, a lot of podcasts do the same kind of damn thing every time, but I like it every time we
I've
get a
never
new guest
listened
in.
to a podcast.
Ever. Good. How did you find yourself in and amongst the SCP crowd and writing for the wiki?
Something awful, I believe.
Does sound like something
at
awful,
that
doesn't it?
It is awful.
Yeah. I'm mad about that. No, I mean the website.
No, I know.
I know what you meant.
Oh, okay.
We're both
You were
old,
making
so
a
we knew what
joke,
you
but
meant.
I couldn't tell if you knew.
That's
Yeah,
also because we're old.
I remember actually. It's funny because I don't know if you guys know this, but in the SCP something awful thread, discussing 231 is banned. It's just a banned topic because goons get rightfully very mad about it, and it's just like endless posts of like dudes just getting really mad about
Right.
SCP-231. But what's funny is I came to the thread during an argument about SCP-231, and I remember, and I was young at this time, I was like 20 or something, so I was like an artless fool. This was like 12 years ago, and I remember I was like shocked. I was like, wow, they have to do something evil. This is very interesting fiction I've seen. Nothing has ever been like this. And like, I remember I made my, the person I was dating at the time, who was like in like the fucking nerdiest shit, like called Ethics Bowl. You even know what that is?
Nope. That does
I
sound
was
familiar.
A horrible significant other because I could not tell you what Ethics Bowl is to this day, and that was a very big part of his life. And I just had no fucking clue. But anyway, like I made him read that SCP and was like, "Is this ethical?" It was like bothering me.
Is 231 ethical?
Yeah, is 231 ethical? Is this?
I don't think it is. I don't think it is, King. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say I don't think it is.
I mean, it all depends on what it is that I'm just kidding. Fuck
No.
I was so mad. I was like shocked.
Yeah.
Because, and this was also back in the day when it was like way obvious, before Class pretended like he was getting a little bit clever,
Yeah.
and it was really obviously like sex offenders,
Yeah.
like only, yeah, it was like, come on. And then,
Yeah.
then like a little bit after, he was like, kind of be a little clever guy about it. Like when he says about his, the Gate Guardian. Have you ever seen him go like, I never mentioned the word angel in that SCP? Like, come on.
Oh, come on.
You douchebag.
I mean,
Everybody else has such charming opening stories for how they found the wiki, and yours is.
this
That
is
could be
great.
something
I-
awful to
this
talk
just-
about 231.
Yeah, no, like I clicked on the thread and they were just all really mad about it, and I was like, I gotta read this one. But like I ended up reading all of them like at that time because that was easy.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
remember I was one of the I like at a certain point only read like Keeters. Like I was like that. That's how I say it, by the way. And I was like so artless. Like I was like not reading the safes. Like I was like that guy at
Only
first.
the
I was
cool
like,
ones.
yeah, I was like, I'm only reading the ones that kill you, like real bad.
You know, I mean, I think there's so much of that early spirit to so many things on the wiki, especially if you came into it at that point. I mean, I think you can be forgiven. There's just so much bullshit edginess that comes with the early stuff.
It's really funny.
Yeah, I mean,
And
And it
why,
is,
like,
I
my
think-
second SCP is Cousin Johnny. Like, I mean, that's obviously where I'm coming from.
Right.
and I mean, you know, I think it is funny in context. It's when we run into people that are just discovering it now, and they're like, "Why isn't it like that anymore?" That I kind of go, "Ugh,"
I got really bored.
because everyone stopped being interested in it. It wasn't like some big moral imperative. It's just that like
tough.
you just can't keep writing
That's
edgy
why.
bullshit and keep being interested in it, and
We
everyone
actually
just
covered
sort of
how far it can go.
yeah,
Yeah.
we evolved as a
Like
community.
the coral that jizzes and poops at the same time.
Right.
Right. The most like fucking memorable thing that
I
we
read-
have on the wiki
Those
is a
were the
statue
first ones I read.
that is covered
that
in
was-
blood and poop. It's just stupid.
God, yeah.
But we are not here to bitch about stuff. We're here to celebrate something, and that is Gamers Against
The
Weed.
thing is, there's going to be a lot of bitching.
Well, it's
You-
all right.
You don't even know that.
We're celebrating a thing that's largely about bitching.
Yeah, that's true.
The best,
Yeah, I know,
the best,
right?
the best kind of bitching.
Yeah.
I'm mad.
Satirical bitching. And the reason we're having you on is because you
Help.
made it. I mean, I know it wasn't alone. I know any group of interest is a collaborative effort.
No, but I didn't even make the first SCP that was Gamers Against Weed SCP.
who was it?
The very first one was by Scans. Communism
Ah.
Will Win. It was Mr. Mean.
Oh,
I
okay.
didn't even mention that. I totally forgot to. But
That's all
yeah,
right.
it's the one that's like okay, I can't remember what it does right now. I just did a huge riff right before this call. But
That's only appropriate.
Yeah, I mean,
really-
plenty
I
of
could not
times I
tell you
drink
what
on the
happens.
podcast. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you what happens in Mr.
Sorry.
Mean. It's good. Like, it was really funny. And I remember that it was just like they were just doing like it was like the opposite of Wondertainment. Like, in that initially the whole idea was like, okay, here are a lot of misters with way too specific names. Fuck you, see what you can do with this. And I thought that was hysterical. And we like kind of obviously moved away from that very quickly, but that was what it initially was, just like kind of like a little joke, and they just thought calling it Gamers Against Weed was funny, and it was. But there was a Discord chat I'm in where like a lot of the Gamers Against Weed jokes stuff gets workshopped. To be honest, like a lot of the characters are based on people from there. But around when it came out, my friend actually, and this kind of segues into the first SCP we can talk about, but the 2293, I guess like that whole SCP is written because somebody said that line to me, and I briefly like thought that was serious. Like, because Stephen King, you don't, and we can talk about it more when we talk about the SCP, but Stephen King talks so much about his car
I know.
that I was like, oh, do they do it in it too now? But like, but yeah, so I had to put that in an SCP because it was hysterical, that line that we will talk about. And then like I needed like some kind of framework to work with. And because Scans was my friend, I just took the name Gamers Against Weed, and I was like, this is what these guys are like.
And
And
it
we
fit.
just, yeah, I just like made up a bunch of dudes. Like, they helped me make some of them. Gay Cop MP3 or something is me misremembering a Tumblr post. Stuff like that. Like, the only one I think for sure I came up with was Lesbian Gengar and Harm Pit.
Lesbian Gengar is so funny.
Maybe Blunt Fiend. Like, I can't even say for certain I came up with Blunt Fiend. Like, I'd have to look it up, and I'm not about to.
I put in chat a meme I did with this line a while back, just because I thought it was so funny. But we could...
Yeah, the line comes up in like everything. People are still referencing it everywhere on the wiki. It's
It's
great.
so funny.
And,
It's still
and
so
a friend
funny.
who hasn't ever written an SCP, like, wrote that line.
Oh my
And
god.
it's really funny
That's
because
awesome.
he gets to take credit for that in like a lot of like nerdy social situations. If like SCP ever gets brought up, she can say, I'm the one who said that. Very
Just something to
impressive for
consider.
certain nerds. Yeah,
Just something to consider. Oh man. But okay, before we get into that, I thought we would go over some like very basics of what the GOI is. So I'm gonna read a little bit from the GOI hub.
Yeah.
And then a little bit, which is I love the hub so much. It's so great. But
It's a great hub.
it's
Wait,
fantastic.
can I
And there's also a
interject?
character
Yeah.
dossier.
Just before you start that, I just want to make sure that we know what this sounds like in HD.
Yeah.
All right, you can go on now.
It
sounds
sounds
good.
much better, yeah.
It does sound good.
So yeah,
Tastes good,
Gamers
too.
Against Weed is a loosely
It sounds
organized
good.
confederation of anomalous individuals that produce or procure anomalies for satirical purposes and for their own amusement.
You're
I think
reading
it's so.
like such a nerd.
Well, I mean, Jesus Christ, we are.
I believe the word is narc.
Yes.
No, but go on. I'm sorry.
More recently, however, they've become implicated in supplying anomalies to left-wing political organizations. I love.
So cornily written, but I love it.
No, but it's from the position of the foundation at this point.
Yeah, I know.
So
like,
it's
that's
so
what
perfect.
I like about it.
Actually, I'm the only one who did a thing on the GOI, the groups of interest page that was from the GOI's perspective. Multiple people have tried to get me. Yeah, victim. The bit on the page is literally just from their perspective.
That's really fun.
And because the implication is that Victim has infected the Foundation database.
They wrote their own blurb.
Right. And multiple people have been like, you should change that. And I'm like, I fucking will not.
Perfect.
Anyway, Gamers Against Weed organizes its activities primarily over internet channels and several real-world locations associated with the group that have been identified and rated. Blah, 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 blah. What I think is really great about the hub, though, other than it smacks of all the great character work that's already there. I mean, it starts off with a chat log, which is fantastic. But all the snippets of just the idea that you don't have an overview, you just have a bunch of snippets from members of Gamers Against Weed, but also like actual GOWs, GOIs, and whatnot. Like the SCP Foundation, Gamers Against Weed organizes a splinter of Are We Cool Yet in 2013, though it appears to have been largely banned the creation of anomalous art. While several GAW-produced anomalies pose serious threats to secrecy, the threat to human life has been minimal. And then we have lesbian Gengar at the end being like, nice try, officer. Or Polar Ice Caps just saying, well, yeah, lesbian Gengar is amazing. Or Polar Ice Caps just saying gay.
Can I read my favorite one?
Yeah. I think he's straight. Go ahead. We've written him as straight. So, like, the fact that he's saying that is actually really funny to me.
It is very funny.
There's a lot of stuff
4chan.
like that. That's like we've kind of like somebody has decided a character is this. So like certain, like really when I talk about, I guess, more the ethics of the group, like because of how we were writing this from like the seat of our pants, like a lot of especially early things like don't really make a lot of sense if you read the later things first. Like Jude is just lying all the time, so I just worked that in to his character that he's a pathological liar, just because like that is something to be honest, I've been caught reflexively lying for things that don't matter. So that's like something I've definitely worked into the character.
I have 100%.
Small lies.
I relate to that so much. I've 100% been caught lying about stupid ass shit. Most of the time, well, half the time it is for a reason for me, but it'll be like because I don't want to explain this very complicated situation, and so I'm just gonna simplify shit immensely. But yeah.
Or like I was with a friend smoking some pot, and I don't want to tell you where I was. So I say like, oh, I was eating.
Yeah.
That happened in college, and I still think about it for some reason because my one friend was so mad, and she looked straight at me and said, "You're lying to me." And at that moment, I realized I reflexively lied. So, like that's like
we all do that, and to lesser extent or more, at varying degrees. You know what a nice person does? Doesn't call people on it.
Oh yeah, she was crazy, but we're not friends anymore.
Because you're a liar.
You were smoking pot. You weren't eating. Tell the truth.
The thing is,
who cares?
Weed. It was that I was smoking weed without her.
Oh, I see.
If you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
She quit. She was crazy. I was about to bitch about her for a second, and I'm glad I kind of stepped back from that.
Yeah, maybe not the best place.
You could tell I was about to start in on something.
This is exactly the right tone for the GAW.
It is. It's perfect. Wait, so Harry, what was your favorite one?
My favorite one by an absolutely immensely wide margin is... Let's see if I can get through it. Formed in 1969, Gamers Against Weed is on the front lines of the eternal war between the gamers and the stoners. With over 9,000 troops, we have participated in numerous raids on Alganja and graduated top of our class in the Nintendo Seals of Quality.
Is that like a reference to something?
Well, yeah, there used to be.
So just write that.
No. So back in we're really old. Back in the day with the original Nintendo thing, if it was and most of them were, if it was a game that was produced or reduced, it would have that seal.
The seal of approval.
Right, and there were only a few that weren't.
Anything they agreed to publish.
But I mean,
the porn games didn't have the seal of quality.
No, typically not. No.
But the implication here is almost that the Nintendo seals of quality are like the Navy seal.
That's right.
I know the seal of quality thing. I was saying, like, is that whole little paragraph? Is that like a meme transposed? because we
I don't
do a
think
lot
so.
of those. Okay, that's what I thought.
No, I
Because
think this is
we
just
do.
like I think this is a meme cluster that's original to the
Yeah.
page, because I
Yeah.
don't remember seeing this format anywhere. But every other word is practically a joke
Because
in this.
Scans
It's
really
great.
likes the Navy copy pasta, and that's what I was kind of
Oh,
thinking.
I
because
see. I
it's-
see.
I
Well,
mean, who
it
doesn't?
might be memes. It might be memes inserted into a Navy copy pasta, in which case it only improves it. It makes me feel good for catching the seals joke as well. So.
Uh-huh.
I do really like, I mean, gay cop MP4, meme loving fucks, or trainer DP, a bunch of trolls basically, except with superpowers. There's so much
sorry.
good stuff. No, go ahead.
I love Jude giving like a real honest answer.
Yeah.
Because I've made like I really like him as a character because
Oh,
like
he's
he's
great.
both like the worst of me and like the best of me. In that,
That's
like,
interesting.
He's trying to take it seriously, but he's also like the worst guy, kind of.
I really like how, depending on the article you're reading, he is either like just giving people shit or like trying to like right a wrong, like on an epic quest. And it's kind of amazing that you've made, and I mean not you alone, but that this GOI and everyone that's written for it has made this complicated character that I totally believe is as much a troll, being an asshole to his friends, but also somebody who would go on like a fucking epic quest to like avenge a wrong. Like, I mean, and
Comes
that's
from
totally buy both of it.
it's because he's so me also like my friend groups also get infected by this because this is for some reason how I am like a bastard soothsayer, like constantly like making sure that people know that this too shall pass, like people should never get too proud, and that is what Jude constantly sort of does. Like I think that really dovetails into the righting wrongs thing.
Yeah,
Like
no,
it's both
totally.
ends of that.
Yeah, and I mean, something that we kind of talked about last time with Are We Cool Yet was that GW
Who do you have on?
why am I blanking? Oh, we had two YouTubers. We had Sean Saxum and SCP Unredacted because they both liked Are We Cool Yet a lot. So we've been promising. I've been promising since the beginning to get more off-site content creators on,
Yeah,
and so I've been
also, I don't
trying.
know who you would get who made Are We Cool?
Yeah,
Like,
I don't know.
For real.
Yeah, exactly,
With
and it's
those
been
older
around for so
GOI,
long.
yeah.
Also, yeah, it's just
Yeah,
wasn't.
who the fuck would you get?
I
Like,
don't
come
know.
on,
I
Yorick
don't
is
know.
not coming on. his
Yeah,
podcast.
right.
Yeah, not likely.
I've actually,
Yorick might have a life now. Yorick might be 50. We don't know.
I actually have asked Yorick if he wanted to come on. It was a no, but
No capital letters, no punctuation.
it was very nicely, but he was very flattered, but he said no.
No, man.
Yeah, it was just one of those things where he was in one of those discords for a minute, and I was like, hey,
That's
how's it
really
going?
funny.
Yeah, but well, he actually was somewhat interested in doing the Davite one, but I think he couldn't for some reason or something. But it doesn't matter. Anyway, the point is that
Story of how you were rejected by Yorick and so embarrassed you couldn't even tell me.
You got fucking celebrityed by Yorick.
No. Genuinely, he just couldn't. He just couldn't come on. It wasn't like.
Told you to go fuck yourself.
That's right.
Right.
That's
of
right.
everyone.
He. That's right. He did. No,
Looked you
none of that
up-
happened.
Looked you up on the IRC bot and was like, "Oh, okay."
He may
IRC
as well
bot.
have grabbed you by the short hairs and just called you a bitch in front of everyone.
He's like, you're not even in the top 50. Who are you? Get out of here. No, none of that happened. Okay, this should be.
I'm poor Yorick.
Sorry, he called you all those names.
Oh yeah, well, I could deal with it.
SCP
I don't even remember what the
royalty.
fuck we were talking. Well, the thing about GW that I've always liked is that there is this. I mean, it's not the core only concept of it, but that they are kind of like intentionally trying to take the wind out of Are We Cool Yet in a lot of ways. And that's not their only deal. Obviously, there's a lot of other things. But that idea, because the thing with the Are We Cool Yet that's always annoyed the shit out of me is that like it just seems to like it's just got its face entirely up its own ass. I mean, and that's written from a perspective of like mocking those kinds of people, but like, yeah, non-artist.
Yeah.
And I get it because I can look outside looking in to the art world and be kind of like, I get why people would feel this way, but I also feel like, it's kind of a trope, and it's fine. There's a lot of great articles we covered than last time, but I always liked GOW more because it was kind of like, it clearly came from like a similar place, kind of, but also was like, look, we're not really trying to hurt anybody, unless you're an asshole who would do a horrible art.
I was kind of forced into that by comparisons to it, which is funny. Like,
Sure.
I don't think I initially would have cared super much about... Like, I didn't know I was going to make a group of interest, but I am naturally a crazy person, and I just, like, really took the side of GOI. Like, that's how I say it, by the way. And, like, I totally just, like... found myself just digging in and being like, no, they're not like Are We Cool Yet? For
Sure.
these reasons,
Yeah.
I'm inventing right now with this article I'm writing.
That's the way it fucking works, though. I mean, in a lot of ways, Victim is the same thing, where, you know, everyone's just like, oh, it's cursed media. It's like, no.
You just have to keep going.
There's more. Shut the fuck up.
Keep talking.
Yeah. And then I perpetually lie, and then it's great because I also won't give any like deep lore about it, which people are constantly annoyed by.
Annoying the readers and the fellow writers is one of the most important parts of writing for collaborative fiction.
You know, I mean, it's so funny. I'm like, hey, you can do it, and people think I have such a fucking stranglehold on Victim, and it's like, no, you could do basically whatever you want. Just don't make them a bunch of murdering psychopaths, and don't tell any deep lore. Otherwise, go nuts.
Every other article is written by somebody new, and people think it's only you.
Yeah, right, exactly. If you look at the hub, there's like 19 or 20
Tons
different
of
authors. Yeah.
Anyway,
This
other group of interest.
But that's, I mean, in a lot of ways, I feel like it's kind of a kindred group of interest in a lot, you know, I mean, because there's that trolling, the trollishness, the fact that there is kind of a perspective of like trying to, I don't know about righting wrongs necessarily, but like show people their bullshit, you know?
Yeah.
Kind of, I mean, it is kind of righting wrong.
Yes. No, yes.
What a crazy person thinks is wrong. Or like, really, it's not even it's like there was every artist you can think of in Are We Cool Yet is basically, and this is the failure of the group after the first few articles, I guess, was that they are, and I say this with love, a bunch of fucking artless nerds' idea of what an artist is.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Like, I mean, I'm not, like, some of us do make pure art, but we're not, most of us, that kind of art. And I think there's a lot of skepticism toward art inherent in Are We Cool Yet pieces that, like, they're almost, I'd call them reactionary.
Yes.
Some of them, but like, so like, I do think that, GOI is very purposefully anti that, and with Dolphins SCP. And by the way, a funny thing about that 1168, I believe you talked about last time, I think.
1168.
Cool Yet. Yeah. Did you know that when Jude Cryot says his name in that SCP, Dolphin did not mean for that to be his real name? That's like a very purposefully, like, Dolphin was like, dude, that's like a fake name. That's like a fake, that's like a really obvious fake name. And I was like, no, it's great. No, this is his name, right? Jude Cryot. But like, because it's like Judas, and also Cryot is where Judas was from. So I mean, it's basically like, hello, I'm Betrayer.
Yeah, man, that's good. I always thought that name was excellent because it's so memorable, and maybe it's obviously fake
name.
Sure, but it's not a fake name that we've seen 1,000 times.
That's true.
It is super iconic.
Cryot is a great made-up last name.
It's like, really good. Yeah.
I thought of in-universe reasons for that, and it was when Jude's family came through whatever the fuck immigrancy. There was a person working. This was maybe during Ellis Island days, who like had a sense of humor, and their weird Eastern European name sounded close enough to Cryot.
Sure.
That he just like wrote that like a dude with a sense of humor that day, because that sounds like something that would happen to Jude's family. And him by extension.
I mean, shit, it happened a bunch. Like,
exactly, but like, I don't think any of them were like weird biblical scholars.
Yeah. No, totally. It was always just like, that sounds like this here. Like I'm not gonna like dox my mother's maiden name, but like,
I doxed a teacher I had.
Well, I mean, she's passed anyway. She won't mind. But it
You
was
killed one of
this
her
like
teachers?
incredible. No, my mother's best. But like her
Mine too.
parents, her parents' family name was like super German. Like you would look at it and go, I don't know what and the Ellis Island people were just like, that sounds like this and these two fucking simple names, and just smushed it together. And from then on, for the next 100 years, that's what we were. And it's just so
I love
fucking
stuff like that.
yeah. I mean, it's horrible, but
horrible,
it's
but
funny.
interesting.
Yeah, no, yeah, it is.
I'm sure there's like no Polish or Welsh people who went through Ellis Island and got through with their name intact.
Right. Yeah, that's totally true. Anyway, all right. Well, let's talk about some articles, shall we? We could do this like really quick. I mean, oh my goodness, are we only at 30 minutes? Wow, impressive. All right.
Oh wow, all of that just insane digression, and it actually went quickly. That's weird.
I know. So one of the ones you recommended, Kinch, was, and we're gonna cover this kind of piecemeal because it's huge.
I recommended a lot of my work.
Yeah, well, this one's not yours. This was 4239,
Well,
which
I
is
don't want to hear about it.
Nah, well, you recommended it, so too bad. Project Kinoware Central Volunteer Hub.
Nowhere is how I say it,
'Cause
but I
it's
don't know if that's
Kenosha.
right. Yeah, because it's Kenosha.
Oh,
Do you know the Kenosha? Oh, god damn it! What is that line?
yeah, I
From
do
Gravity's
know it
Rainbow?
now.
Oh fuck! I was about to sound so smart to like 6 people.
You were gonna make a Gravity's Rainbow reference?
Yeah.
This is not the crowd. I read that though, and I don't remember any of it because it was so confusing. But
I actually read every word of this, and I adore it. It's really good.
it is very good. It's incredible. But
There
this
are
one
a lot
was
of words. It's true.
yeah, it's long.
It's super long.
And it's by Scarharver and Dolphin Slugchugger.
Starhaver is actually the person I based Bones from the
Oh.
Group of Interest speech patterns off of.
That makes sense.
I actually take all of Bones' lines that I write through her.
Nice.
And that's
That's
funny
neat.
that she wrote this because it's just because Bones is writing this, so like it's funny.
But I want to just like read the title because it's so fucking funny because it's or KTE 6561 Black or Dolphin Slugchuggers and Scarharver's GAW1 proposal or 8008132 or wait, what?
Boobies.
Oh, yes, I know.
That's what that says. That says boobies.
Our friend who lives by the lake, or a very important question, or the reason we did something new this time, or go big or go home. I just think it's so fucking funny.
good
You're just
title.
like, I can't decide. We're gonna do
They
all
wanna
the
make
titles.
the longest title,
I think
and I think it's not the longest title.
it's
even
not.
anymore.
Yeah.
No.
There's that
and-
one that just has with beef like 17
She's
times.
very
That's
mad.
right. Yeah, she should be
very mad
because
that
the
it's
one
not.
that's longer is not nearly as clever.
Yeah.
But
Because all those names fit.
yeah, no, they do. Yeah, absolutely. So kind of give maybe the elevator pitch for this one. I've got some stuff I wanted to read and bring out, but like, what's the basic idea here?
Well, I think this is an SCP that adds, and this sounds weird, it adds a kind of legitimacy
Mm-hmm.
to the group of interest that I don't think in a lot of people's eyes was there. Like, this kind of connects them to, like, the history of this, like, horrible canon. Like, they basically retroactively made a Destiny god kind of thing.
Yep.
Like,
No,
a deity,
100%.
kind of.
Yep.
Yeah, and so, like, he's, like, back there, like, back in time, like, well, not back in time, just when they're around, like, fucking fighting, like, ancient Sarkis,
That's
and
right.
Church of the Broken God dudes
Right.
and stuff, just, like, waging untold wars, just because, like, that is what they did, but just, like, always in a cool way.
Yes.
And it's just, and then they make an anarcho, communist compound.
Yeah. So this
Kenosha.
is basically a island in Lake Michigan that is, it's not just like a compound because there's kind of you can't get there unless
Yeah,
somebody
it's not a
from
compound,
somebody cannot. I mean, my point is it's not just a physical location. Like you can't get there unless you're invited by somebody from Gamers Against Weed or
Called by
Destiny.
Mr. Destiny.
That's right, Mr. Destiny, who has a dog-like head and is at some point called the Coyote Man or whatever. But I really liked how this was effectively almost like a GAW file, which is funny because it's not a group of interest that you would usually assume has files, and yet it does. It has it's got the SCP for the thing. Only you can't read 99% of it because it's all corrupted because they couldn't get the data out. And then they've got a fairly long but interesting GOC document about all the history of this thing.
From somebody from the SCP to what's the word to
defect.
I forgot the word. Defect. Thank you. They're just waiting for a defection. I think they even make that joke.
They say that. Well, next time one of them is gonna defect, I hope they bring this information.
That's right. Because this is actually from the reason that we know so much about them is this green man walking. It was, his name is ridiculous. First of all, I really want to say, they're like, oh, is this guy's really his name or whatever? And then Mr. Destiny actually calls it. He's like, oh my god, holy shit, it is his name. Because all the footnotes are just fucking commentary from GW people.
Silas is sort of like the opposite of Jude in a lot of ways, if you think about it. Yet they're both very similar characters. They're both trans men with a huge kind of need for justice, except for I really think Silas is much more lawful
right.
than Jude would be. Jude is definitely chaotic good, whereas I think Silas is definitely lawful good.
Yeah.
Since we mentioned it, of course, his name, the full name is Sylvanus Ayers.
That's right.
Or Ayers. Sylvanus.
Sylvanus is
it's a great name.
Pretty weird.
Polarized Craps really cannot let that one go in comments on
right,
it.
Yeah.
Dude, is that your actual first name? I'm just saying, they're sure writing this on an official report like it is actually your name.
Yeah, because we actually have these notes that this GOC agent Sylvanus Ayers did before, because this agent did defect because they had the calling from Mr. Destiny.
That must have been the single rarest case of defection imaginable, right? You defected from the Global Occult Coalition to Gamers Against Weed.
Isn't that funny? I also love.
I imagine he's very useful as a defect.
I love the implication also, kind of in these documents. Imagine how irritated and weirded out the GOC and SCP are. When they look at this ancient wall sculpture and they have to see Mr. Destiny made by Gamers Against Weed. They have to look at that before English was even invented.
Yeah, because
to just see that.
they're not sure how old this entity is. It could be anywhere from 3,000 to 11,000 years old, which is fucking hilarious.
We've had it's in the author's notes.
Yeah.
There's what is it called? Gobele Tepe? One of the first temples we made, in history. That's kind of hinted as the birth date of Mr. Destiny. The first time that we decided to put aside a shitload of grain so that we could just build a weird thing to the stars or something.
My favorite part.
I'm butchering it because I can't remember the fucking name of it. Gobele Tepe? I can't say it. Even if I knew it. But...
but my favorite part is that, and we've kind of intimated it, but the idea is that, he wasn't even made till 2016. But something went wrong because they made him retroactively exist prior to this event for a period of at least 13,000 years. And then the next sentence is, this was unintentional.
It's really funny. The whole idea is they were going to try to make a being that had JJ's power, but they kind of did it wrong, because I'm pretty sure it's hinted that because Dahlia, who is the person that Mr. Destiny appears to, she's the only, well, not the only, but she was important initially because she was at first one of the only non-anomalous people in the core group.
Right.
So the fact that she was in a part of the pentagram or whatever the fuck they did, I actually forgot how they made him completely the ritual, her part in it because of her non-magic somehow made this retroactive, I think, is an implication.
But what's funny is that there's so much buildup here, about, I mean, the history goes back thousands of years, and there's like parts in the GOC that is like extant messages from the subject indicate significant enmity for the United States of America. It has been determined from archaeological and anthropological investigation that subject has a historical tendency to seek physical conflict and strife. Therefore, its avoidance of GOC personnel is unexplained. It accumulates followers and draws them to the island for currently undetermined purposes, presumably to be worshipped as either for sustenance or for psychological reasons. Pitisphage? I don't know what that word is.
Pistiphage. It's something I invented, and I think Bones loves it. It's what 3004 Imago is.
Oh, I see.
I just put like a fucking like 2 words together. I think it means like face eater.
Oh, yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. That makes sense, then. And the next note being that approximately 25% of suspected followers have active warrants for their arrest for crimes ranging from illegal gathering to assault of an officer of the law to desertion. And I mean, like, basically what they're setting up is this kind of funny back-end, like legitimization of that one funny quote we just read from the hub where like they're making an army. And I mean, it isn't really what's going on, but that's what it sounds like, where we're making this like, you know, this Mr. Destiny calls people, and you know, once they get called, they get pulled in and they become part of this group. And then it just turns out to be like this really heartwarming thing, like where he's just a cool guy, and he just wants people to be their best. He can only push people to live up to their higher impulses. Like, it's really just genuinely like, hey, this group that's done a lot of fucking weird and like kind of chaotic stuff, actually at their core, they're really just trying to help people, like in roundabout ways.
Swerve to heartwarming and then stays at heartwarming the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, the last note is just incredibly sincere in this wonderful way. Oh, well, before that, how you can help is so cool, because it's wonderful world building by explaining, here's all the stuff that we're looking to continue to make this community work. And it's stuff like medicine, syringes, like medical dressings, like antibiotic soap.
Textbooks for kids.
You know, structural materials, copper, electrical cable. Like, and it's just like, oh, they're just making a community.
And this god they're afraid of, who, according to the Foundation or the GOC maybe eats people and all.
That's right.
You know, he's just walking around chill with his tits out, according to one of the GW members. And the conversations about him make him sound so incredibly charming. The 2 quotes that I pulled out of people talking about him, I think he's just kind of like a dog and does things arbitrarily.
That's the line from Charles Barkley Gaydon.
Shut Up and Jam?
Yes.
Or whatever it was? Yeah, I love that game.
Jam Gaiden.
Fuck, it is too, I remember that. I like it even more now because I know where it was pinched from. And also, what does the wolf guy do? Dog stuff.
There's actually a reference in there that no one has ever caught because it's really subtle and like I didn't want it to be caught. And this is totally like a Scarhaver Bones. The funny thing is that is actually Joan, I guess I should call her to make it not confusing. Because I call her Bones, and Bones is also the character. It's funny. But that's actually where the name is from. But if you recall, it's really subtle at the end when like kind of Sylvanas and Destiny have like that kind of heart-to-heart moment.
Mm-hmm.
Destiny's like face is like a border terrier face.
Yeah.
Oh,
and he mentions that he ran over a border terrier when he was young.
Yeah.
And that's from SCP 2420. That's like my SCP about my doggy.
You've got these all tied together so well.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
it's nice.
It's art.
All of them are like that. That's the thing I really like about this, is almost all of these are tying in ways that don't feel like a rock sticking at the middle of the road.
The idea that the teen who accidentally killed a magic dog is now like the right-hand man of a more impressive magic dog.
Yeah, no, it's really good. I mean, that's the best part, is that it starts off in this, like, what is this, like, you know, maybe not horrible, but certainly threatening entity, and but what are they doing? And then it turns into this
Black.
Right, exactly.
That sounds scary as shit. Nobody knows what that means.
And
We don't
then
really
like
care
it,
about GOT
and then through the
stuff.
logs, we're seen like, well, he seems pretty like, you know, he's funny. There's a lot of like humanity to him, and then it just turns into this like wonderfully like, I mean, all the stuff from Bluntfiend at the end is just so like touching. Like it's just
Bluntfiend can't be around Mr. Destiny or else his powers stop. That's another lore thing that we've never gotten to actually
Hidden
work
snippet.
in that we decided.
But I love the
Yeah,
idea that like the end.
Because Destiny makes you more comfortable, and Jude's
Oh,
power
right.
are all rooted in the
Course.
fact that he
Course.
hates himself.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is why he just burst into tears and then won't go back.
But I love this idea that like there's like a sense of responsibility there. Like we made this
So
guy.
beautiful.
We didn't mean for it to happen that way. And there was only like, oh, we just lost Kinch. Oh, Kinch is back.
She's back.
Are you back?
Knows how to make an entrance
Okay,
and
good.
an exit.
All right, good.
Sorry, my phone, I think, might have...
Oh, that's okay.
Gotten sick of us.
No, it went in and out. I think that this rain is getting
Went
harder.
inside.
It's real nice.
Rain.
But yeah, anyway, I really like that final note from Bluntfiend, just because it's just so. It's just like there's this sense of, even beyond the stuff of them trying to make a community, that goes back to the core of it, of like, we made this guy and he wants to do this, and I mean, it's up to us to
That's because
support
we're
him.
embarrassed about all of the early misters.
Oh,
For
well,
one
sure.
thing, I think a lot of the early misters aren't good. That's something I'm sad to say, but like they're okay. But like some of them are fantastic, okay. But some of them are just more like a joke. And at the time, I loved that because just more articles meant more legitimacy. Like I felt like it was a war to get Gamers Against Weed, like an official designation. Like because people were so against it, so like I'd accept anything. And so like that's like the funny thing is like a lot of articles I was like so happy for. I've like actually, and this is like such a dick thing to say maybe, but like I almost like ignore them now completely when I write about the characters. Some of them I've like kind of taken but like twisted them enough that they work for me. Like KK Rule and Kektagon. Like Bernie's Quarters is a great SCP, and so is the Nerfing Gun, but I hate SCPs that are just GOI made a mistake and the SCP Foundation has to fix it with like nothing really else going on.
Right.
Besides,
You can do that with
GOI
any,
made the fuck up.
GOI. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those were very important at first, and those are also still very good.
I mean, I feel like
Like-
that's a very normal trajectory for most groups of
They
interest.
created but like those SCPs I have to blame for the Cognito hazardous shitpost, which I
Right.
hate.
Right.
Like I will say that 100% on podcast. I hate that SCP. I feel like it has no understanding of GOI. I've tried to write about it in my head. I had this idea. Okay, you know that Wolverine comic? It's like famous, where like this kid like wakes to his power and it like kills his whole town,
Yes.
and Wolverine has to go there and fucking kill him.
Yep.
I was gonna do a reverse of that with Jude, and like have you think Jude is gonna kill this guy, but it turns out that like it's KK Rule actually. But like then I thought like I really want to pretend that Cognito hazardous shitpost does not exist, and I just decided to just drop it.
Well, you get to do that. There's nothing wrong.
It's
with
great.
it.
Before we move
I
on,
decide what's canon.
yes, we all do, but obviously you have the final say in your head.
It's
and your
so
head is
much
more important
fun.
than ours.
It's so much fun to say that because like it's a crazy thing, but it's also like a little true. When you
anything
get
that-
to do that,
Anything that you choose to unperson is
it's just
by
gone.
default going to be less part of the GOI than.
Yeah.
I just wanted to read one little bit from the heart to heart that one
Oh, yes,
character
sorry.
has with Mr. Destiny, just because I feel like Grigori's preparing to move on to the next one.
I sure am.
Just because this is the thing about the GAW stuff that I think I like the most is the way it wildly vacillates between deeply heartwarming and just unbelievably hilarious.
Yes.
And all of them do that, and this is a good example. This is talking to the dog god. We talked a lot in the car. He told me stories about killing a flesh demon. I talked to him about my mom, how I want to see her more in case something happens, like with my roommate's mom. He talked to me about how he had an immortal blood brother who was trapped forever in a stone circle that he missed too.
I think that is also, by the way, a reference to the summer god. Have you read that? It's a Dr. Man tale, and it's basically a reimagining of 076. I'm pretty sure that's what it's a reference to. It's the Summer King.
Oh,
like,
that makes sense.
You have to fight him to end winter.
Okay.
And like he has the weapon.
Yes, that does.
How is this all
like?
How is it GAW stuff that's so referentially like lore dense? That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's great.
Because we're all really masturbatory like that. And just love doing those things like that.
Well, never change.
Also, it's a really good tale.
Man was always good with tales.
Yes. But we're moving on now. Speaking of tales, one of your tales, which is different kinds of nihilism. And I'm going to ask you, like, kind of where it comes from and whatnot, but I just wanted to call out some of these parts because, again, it speaks to why I really, really like, the kind of antagonistic relationship between Are We Cool Yet and Ga. And it's Blunt Fiend talking. For every one of those, every joke lovingly created to own the fuck out of someone, they had a shark or some stupid shit that was like, not really there, guys, and maybe panic is more dangerous than a shark, but the fucking shark kills people, dudes. The fucking shark ate people and they died and it hurt people and they didn't need to hurt people that didn't need to die for the sake of some bullshit artistic point that could have been better served written on the fucking back of a goddamn cereal box. Yep. I fucking love.
So mad.
But so mad that there wasn't any punctuation there. It's just one big long sentence. You can see, and I'm not calling it out as a mistake.
No,
I'm saying that is like you can just imagine him just like getting. He's just talking faster and faster. Yeah,
he's thinking about it constantly.
But yeah, I mean, I did like also. I mean, I like that Jude is so often kind of like. For example, in Jude's Bizarre Adventure, we don't get like a tremendous amount of backstory because that was already established other places. But I like that in the sense that there is kind of like these little bits and pieces that kind of give you the full, in different articles. Because there's this other part where he was like, you didn't really want to hurt anyone. Well, the in between parts of the chat log are all second person, so it's like talking to Jude. Yeah. But it's kind of like you can imagine it's him thinking it to himself. You didn't want to hurt anyone anymore. If you could make things happen, if you could do things, small things, beautiful things, and fill the word with fuck, laughter, meaning, anything, wouldn't that be better than making whatever weird shit the critic ejaculated onto the canvas? And I just love that, like, very core, like, it's almost a mission statement, and it's not a very complicated one. It's just like, stop hurting people. You could do fun, crazy shit and make fun of people without, like, leaving dead civilians out there.
I actually established he's Catholic in this one because a criticism of the SCP, like, somebody showed me, like, a mad article someone was going to write called like Mr. Atheism or something like that.
Oh, God.
And like Jude was like a Richard Dawkins type guy, and I got super mad about it because like that's never what I am. So like it was really easy to write Jude as a lapsed Catholic. See, a lot of my writing choices you're going to find are motivated by me being mad about somebody who said something I thought was wrong or annoying.
I relate to that so fucking much.
But yeah, and that actual the dark night of the soul kind of thing. He talks about like having a theology teacher that was probably an alcoholic. That's autobiographical. That comes from truth. I didn't know what that smell was, but that was whiskey. Now that I look back.
Oh God.
He went to AA. I'm sure he's fine now. But
let's hope.
I just think, no, believe me, it started to smell better in the next year.
Maybe you just got used to it.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh God, that's such a. If you're not the one drinking, that is a bad smell.
Oh yeah. I just thought that was an old man smell. I was just like, oh well, I guess this is how this guy smells.
That's the one thing you can actually see in a lot of the GAW chat transcripts is usually one of them is angrier or more upset about the thing than the rest of them, and the rest of them are talking around it or trying to calm them down. And the only one who ever isn't the one who's angry is, of course, the one who is not quite secretly, but secretly because no one believes him, also a death satellite around the moon. Which is still my favorite tiny detail. It's not a tiny detail, it's a massive detail. But it is still my favorite detail that the moderator of GAW's chat room is half of a death satellite from an alien civilization.
2721.
It's Eli from 2721.
Yeah, just got an internet connection and started to type more normal.
I hadn't ever read the entirety of that, by the way, for whatever reason, and I read the entirety of it. I'd read bits of it, and I'd read enough to get mad at the people who were mad at it because they're shitheads who should just go to hell. But I read the whole thing not long ago, and man, I cried. That is such a good thing, and I don't know a damn thing about Homestuck. That's a great article. And fuck everybody who doesn't like it. Don't you dare edit that out.
I'm not a big fan of Homestuck.
Why would I edit that out?
Well, because I'm making drama. I'm not making drama. Nobody who hates 2721 would ever listen to this.
They're not going to listen to this. Yeah, no, definitely not.
Yeah, and they're not going to listen to the GOI episode.
This is a good
bones in here. It's great.
This is a good segue because you also mentioned what passes as normal in digital age, and sometimes it's not funny. And I didn't want to go into deep on those because we've got a bunch of other ones, but I wanted to use them as like examples to like you talking about the characters, you know, because the thing that I think that stands out the most with these is how strongly characterized these different, especially because they're often just people that are showing up in a username in a chat log, which is really impressive.
Part of that is typing quirks. There's a list of how everybody types, and that's like serious. That is like some Homestuck shit, but it's real. There is, I don't actually know where it is now, so I have to read old chat logs and remember the typing quirks. But like everybody has, like, I've tried to give everybody a specific tick.
That's very good.
Kind of thing. It's really hard because you just kind of want to write it like you talk.
Yeah.
And Jude is closer to mine, except for he's a lot more grammatically correct, which is also like kind of like how I was in college. So like I think a lot of Jude, even though I think he's older than me, I don't do the math. People do the math. I remember there's one fan who's always like asking about what years everything takes place. I don't know.
There's always somebody who cares about something that like the author is totally disinterested.
Has not thought.
Oh
about
yeah, because we tripped into that by doing 6500 Inevitable and then making a canon on it, and now everybody in the world will constantly, not everyone,
now you
but
have
like
to think about.
People are constantly asking like, what happens to this thing, and it's like I don't know. We'll talk about it or not. This is fiction. I don't know.
SCP 4621 survived.
Really
I don't know what one that is.
Well, I know which one that one is.
What? That one that's was that a meaningful one? I just picked a number at random.
You said 4612.
I said 2. No, I said 21. Oh my god, did I almost subconsciously recreate your first SCP in my head?
I thought you said mine. Yeah, that would have been funny.
That would have been really funny.
I thought you were making a joke. What happened to that one?
Usually you would be correct at any given moment. What were we
characters
talking about?
So,
yeah, I was going to say Harmpits. Harmpits typing is completely unreadable.
Yeah. Sorry? Harmpits.
Yeah.
Completely unreadable.
Yeah, that's because they're in both like kind of like a more, I think they call it like the mean sphere. They're like kind of in two places at once mentally, constantly, like a higher zone.
Right. That makes sense.
So like
there's the bit where they have to concentrate to type correctly.
Yeah, and there's actually a joke about that in a tale we're going to talk about, which is that Harmpit is like the drill of like the magical Twitter universe.
Right.
Everybody thinks Harmpit's hysterical, and like Jude like gets like no like attention on any of his posts. Right. Anyway, like is what passes as normal in the digital age is about Dahlia, and like she's like basically like one thing, like I'm describing the college I went to in the tale just because that's like easier for me. I do that a lot, but like I just really wanted to like kind of center on the humanness, because like a lot of the worry was that GOI was going to be the magic blunt fiend and his less impressive friends,
Right.
So that was something I remember Scan specifically told me, like, we really got to stay away from this, and I always kind of kept that in mind. Like, so like we've had like different people involved in different things, and that's why like
Right.
Gay Cop is like the magic hacker and stuff like that, because like we had to like give them things that matter, and like
No, it's good. And I mean, that kind of thing can work out really well, like organically, just because as you go on, like, well, I don't want to do Jude again, so let's do, Bones this time, or let's do, and and it worked, especially because it's been so consistent, that like, and you'll get these, and, and because so many of these articles will have one of these chat logs in it, we were talking about it last episode, that there's so much character here, whereas most of the articles don't even have anything from these characters except for a chat log. Some of them are more in depth, like the tales and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I think that's just really impressive. And I get what you're saying, that a lot of, it goes a long way that everyone has their own typing style, but that's not it entirely. There is like real genuine characters to these, and
they're very important.
What's funny is I had barely read any of these before I read Jude's Bizarre Adventure.
That's funny,
because we were both in, and I think it was like 2020 when everything hit the fucking fan, and we were both in Famin's giant Twitter chat that was basically just you, me, Meta, and fucking Famin talking most of the time. And I think you had brought it up, and then I just started reading it and was like, what the this is fucking great. And then I went
pretty good when I finished it finally.
It was also pretty great because you had just finished it, and so I didn't have to worry about that.
It took you can tell there's like this huge like point rating drop off because I waited so long to post the last one.
Well,
which I don't regret, but like that, I just think it's so funny that you can like date them almost archaeologically. Like, it's just, I love that.
I mean, you should be pretty happy in the sense that most of these tales are like insanely higher rated than tales ever get. Like, I have one tale that is approaching 100. One.
People, because the only GAW stuff was tales, and because it was, I feel like, hot button SCP stuff at the time, and I was also so fiercely angry, and I had energy back then to like post a lot. Like, I had a Tumblr, and I was like posting them and like telling people about GAW and like posting like stuff. So like it was like a huge like win, like just like constantly trying to make like what's the word I'm trying to think of? How to win? Just really, I was trying so hard to legitimize it.
Sure.
I think that like that was because now I don't have to. Now I'm like an aged king.
You did.
That's so funny. That's like so similar to like why there are so many, victim articles. Because I mean, other than all the people that came on board to do them, which lots of people have, but I think a lot of that was because I kept bringing them out, and kept getting other people to join me in doing one.
I'm going to make this a thing.
Yeah, I mean, we had the tag within a couple of months of the first article.
Yeah,
which is nuts.
We fought for the tag. I had I'm friends with them now, but I had nemesis who would downvote every single GAW article.
Oh,
I
God,
don't even think
familiar.
they hated it so much as they hated it. But I don't think they were doing it it wasn't what's
malicious.
The word? Malicious. Thank you.
Yeah.
I had one of the words you've been looking for. I feel so good about myself.
They happened to hate it. They just happened to. They came by it honestly. Most of them like it now, I think. Or they specifically only like the tales or something.
Well, the tales add a lot, honestly.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think that's really great, honestly. Because...
and there's also. Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
Sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say that there's kind of these two sides to GAW, because the SCPs are very very memey, tongue-in-cheek, Joe. I mean, they're super, they're great. I love them. And then you'll
literal serial killer.
Yes, exactly.
Changes your name to Boners McDoofus or something because he memed he has a gun in his hands.
Right, totally.
It's really funny.
And then you'll get a tale that maybe has that character or maybe some other character, and they reference this other thing, and then it's oh, there's this whole thing here. And it's great. And I mean, I honestly, I think that's why it works so well, because it's such this organic thing that grew up, around you, but also around a group of other people.
And also that kind of goes into sometimes it's not funny. That was like a very purposeful, that tale I wrote. I think it's called Sometimes It's Not Funny, or sometimes
Yep.
I always accidentally get the contraction wrong, but that was a very purposeful attempt to make like something serious with them. Like I was really trying to like show like them functioning as a community, and also part of that tale was to show that like there is not one GOI chat.
Yes.
There's like a bunch of like smaller chats that like Jude might not even necessarily be in most of them, but like Bones, however, is in every single one. I
just have to read some of these titles of these chats. Bloodfeed's Big Boys Burger Club, GA Mod Talk Zone, log from a private message. That's just a private message.
Yeah,
log from
That's not a funny one.
That's not funny at all. The place you learn where sublingual meets.
That's the trans
But
chat.
my absolute favorite one is Weedville. Sorry, Weedville population U. It's just so good.
And that's the fun time chat.
Yeah, well, it would be.
You would imagine.
The Blunt Fiend Big Boys Burger Club, or whatever I called it, is definitely meant to be like the chat you see in most of my SCPs, like kind of the central figures together, hanging out.
I love so much. I mean, and it's going to be lost, I think, on people in not too long, because there's a lot of people that are coming up and joining the wiki or otherwise that would have never touched IRC. But I get such a warm feeling, like looking at these chat logs and being like, IRC.
Yeah, they're very IRC, and the thing is, I rarely chatted on IRC.
Sure.
It's funny, but it just works really well for GOI.
Yeah, and I mean,
it suits it perfectly.
It is perfect. Yeah, absolutely.
I do like some of the recent ones that have them in a more Discord-looking thing, but I always stick with this because I also am like one of those writers that like completely, I'm like the last dinosaur on the wiki who refuses ornamentation of any kind in my articles. Like
nothing wrong with that.
I know. I totally like. I've gotten snippy about it.
People
it's just how I am. I'm a crazy person.
I will say that people have way too many strong opinions about other people's stuff and how it looks.
I'm so
stubborn. Like I don't think there's anything wrong with any irrational or rational reason why you want to make your article look a certain way.
When I gave colors to the screen names, I felt like I was doing a little bit crazy shit. Like I was like, okay, guys, now I know this is for readability, but is this a little too much? But
I will say that there is a whole like cadre of people out there that have these crazy strong opinions about whether there's too much visual stuff or there's not enough visual stuff on other people's stuff, and it's like, go fuck yourselves. Hey, right? Just worry about whether or not it's fun. Is the article fun? Stop worrying about like, oh, they spent too much time decorating it. Oh, who gives a shit?
Nerds.
That's right. Nerds who aren't involved in the community anymore but decide to come back to piss on everybody.
Nerds against CSS.
Who the heck would I be talking about? Anyway, let's move on to the one we've already talked about a little bit, which is 2293, which is I didn't even realize this was a GOI one. I read this so early. I think this was like in the first 10 that I ever read, easily.
It should be obvious.
I've been laughing about it for years now.
It's a pretty good line.
It's a fucking great line.
Can you read the line
out?
Because I sometimes get it wrong.
So first, for listeners, if you haven't read this one, it's great and it's short, but it's SCP-2293 is a phenomenon in which media within a given area up to 20 square kilometers that contains any form of dialogue or speech may be subject to alterations. My favorite part is that there's no way to predict where this area will pop up.
Yeah. It's like as big as a town or kind of bigger.
It's easily as big of a town. Yeah.
The craziest measurement possible. Just like such a dick weird move Jude did by accident.
By accident, right. Because somewhere in the media, this line is added. Did you know that world-renowned writer Stephen King was once hit by a car? Just something to consider.
Besides works derived from Stephen King or Richard Bachman's output. And the joke there is that they already have that line. So it didn't need
they already
changed.
referenced it, so they don't need to.
Yeah, because
it's fine.
if listeners don't know, Stephen King has a tendency to make his shit weirdly autobiographical, and it's not.
To an absurdly,
but it's not even autobiographical, because all he does is like, I mean, to the worst example is when he literally wrote himself into the Dark Tower series,
and he turned the dude who hit him to like a buffoon,
yes, that's
and
right.
stuff.
Or an agent of evil and stuff. And, you know, I mean, whatever. The guy's written a lot of...
really misunderstood what you know.
I
Because,
even have a character, like, arguing, like, well, he received trauma. What do you expect him to write about? Like, I feel like I have to have that, like, side...
I mean, you know, I mean, that's fair, but like also, and the guy is like clearly a very imaginative person. Some of his books are really, really good, but like it's so ridiculous. Yeah, so many of them reference either himself.
The thing is, even before he got hit by the car, and this
right.
in the SCP, he has a lot of evil car stories.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
More than you would believe.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It's more than
not
just
done writing them. There's still more coming out.
Is there?
Because they're after him.
That's right.
I mean, because before it was this, it was, you know, the dangerous alcoholic, because he was an alcoholic, and his, you know, he came from an alcoholic family, and so he always put that character in there, always. And,
do you know how many horror writers who live in Maine appear in Stephen King's novels? Like 2,000 of them.
Yes.
The main character of
like you'd think a lot, but it's still more.
It's crazy.
It's more than you expect.
That's not why that Alan Wake game is so funny.
Alan Wake. I feel like that. Yeah.
Alan Wake is kind of crap and also amazing. Oh, it was definitely, yeah. It was equal parts love letter to Twin Peaks and also a big FU to Stephen King.
Anyway. 2293.
But yeah, it you know, it happens randomly and unpredictably, lasts for 4 days. I mean, I just love that this whole idea, because, you know, as you mentioned, it's the joke is that he already does this in his own stuff so much that it's now the effect of this SCP is that it's now just happening to everywhere else. And I just love it so much that it's Blunt Fiend coming into a chat and like making this joke. That my favorite part is when Pennywise the Clown turns to the camera and says, "Did you know the world-renowned writer Stephen King was once hit by a car? Just something to consider." And then he honks his nose. And the rest of the chat's like, "I don't understand. Is this a joke? That doesn't happen." And then Polarized Cats laughs. And then Bluntfiend just says, "It's just something to think about." And it's just this joke. Bluntfiend's just trying to make this joke work.
He's being absolutely insufferable. He even gets yelled at.
Right.
Just because he gets yelled at.
He does it for real. He makes this SCP just to fuck with the other members. It's just so funny. And then it just
petty and wonderful.
And then my favorite part is he does it to fuck with Gay Cop and P4, and then it just keeps going. And
because he thinks it's that funny.
Right.
Yep.
I do like the fact that like I just love this part so much. Bluntfiend, what the fuck does that have to do with your spooky magic? Polar Ice Caps asks. Bluntfiend goes, "A good joke just wants to be heard, you know."
It's such like a corny thing, but it's also like I had to put it because Jude has to be so self-satisfied at that point.
Right.
Like he even tries to play it off like he did it on purpose at first.
Oh yeah. Don't pretend like you did it on purpose to get them to waste their time on stupid shit. Did I, friend? Did I?
No.
You didn't. He's like, no, I definitely didn't. Still pretty funny though. It's like it's like all those Are We Cool Yet things where it's like, oh, this is the point of it. And then it just kind of kept going and a bunch of people got hurt. Only in this one, Bluntfiend is just it's just a joke. It's just fun. It's just going to make you go, wait, did Kiki just say that?
Why did this just, what is this? Is this a joke? Am I watching Spider-Man?
I'm constantly trying not to make 1,000 different memes that are just images from movies with that line. Like it just makes me laugh every time I think.
Yeah,
about it.
this line
I
picked up.
just
This line
love-
picked up like crazy. Everybody uses it. You
It's
see
a
this?
funny line.
This line has become more of an in-group meme than the Black Moon Howls crap.
Oh,
People
yeah.
actually reference this all the time. The much maligned Drake Gatsby joke article. That's just the text of the Drake
I
Gatsby.
just think that's funny because I didn't know they added the Stephen King joke until like
It's-
recent-ish.
Other than changing Gatsby's name to SCP J or whatever,
Yeah, that's
the only
funny.
other change made to the text is the Stephen King joke appears in it because it's a work of literature.
So fucking
That's
funny.
like a really good joke.
That's
But,
clever. Yeah.
It's dedication
I also
right there.
was kind of
Right, PJ.
playing with like Keeters at that point too. Like I was trying to like think of like something that would be like impossible to contain, but
Right.
like really just like wouldn't hurt anybody, and it's just more annoying
Yeah.
than not.
I love that.
And I actually
I love
have
the
a-
idea that Keter's.
Yeah.
I mean, Keter really has nothing to do
More
with how
annoying.
dangerous it is.
Can you
Like, that's-
imagine
Yeah, just hard.
Yeah.
yourself joining the wiki, looking only at the Keter articles?
Oh, I
found
know.
this article, you'd be so mad.
I'd be
And
so
confused.
What the
And
fuck
like,
is
just
this
wait. How?
shit?
What?
Where's the boner devil? First off. But another. Oh, God damn it. Just zoned out of what I was gonna say. It couldn't have been that interesting, I guess.
Well, that's all right.
But,
Let's take a brief break. Hey there, fans of Simply Creative People. We're mostly unsponsored so far, so I figured I would take the time to mention that you can support the show on the show page at anchor.fm/simplycreativepeople, or if you're so inclined, you can check out Harry or my Ko-Fi pages at ko-fi.com/harryblink or /Grigory Carpin author. Things are crazy tough out there, so if you can't afford any financial support, and trust me, we understand, do us a favor and mention the podcast to someone who might enjoy it, or spread the word online. If we want to bridge the gap between fans and creators, we've got to get the word out to new fans. In many ways, this show is designed to be appealing to new and old fans of SCP alike, as we can all enjoy some discussion about this thing we love, and we can all learn something new. Heaven knows I learn something new every week. Thanks so much, and we love you just for listening. Thanks for the support through all these first few months of the podcast. You're the best. Yeah, I mean,
I had to remind everyone in my house I might be doing a podcast thing, and they were like, "For what? Are you going to get money?" And I said, "No."
That's not how podcasts work.
Yeah, I don't think you know what a podcast is.
And I guess in some weird sense, super famous podcasts might work that way, but
Yeah,
we don't have any
Yeah.
money.
yeah. I'm not. Yeah, I'm not expecting anything. I'm doing this for fun.
Are you being funny where I can't hear it?
Yep.
Very funny.
All right. But we're back now. So, let's
You're talking about.
let's talk about more like Rainbow Capitalism by Chewbacca.
It's so funny.
It's amazing. And I mean, honestly, I don't know if there's that much to talk about here without just giving them all away. And so
Yeah,
I
just
can't,
read it,
we
Just
can
read
definitely,
it.
people should just read it. I do really, really like, because it's something that I've constantly gone on kind of tirades about, during Pride Month, how all the corporations kind of like go out of nowhere to make sure that they seem like they're supporting queer culture, or Black History Month or
And
whatever.
this is so mad about that.
Yeah, this is very mad about that, but then it's also kind of mad about that from the SCP verse, which is fucking great.
The one thing that I want to talk about from it is, like, this is the one thing I guess I'll spoil. And it is, there are the funniest voids. I can't remember what the fake tweets are called. I'm such a bad guest. But the Marshall, Carter, and Dark, once they've been infected, are so fucking funny. They're just so evil. But, like, you already knew all this, but you just see it written out so starkly and cheerfully. And they're all, like, numbered, too, so you're only getting, like, a little bit of it.
Right.
And they're, like, more and more horrible. Like, it starts with, like, Iris Dark, who is trans in this universe, which I love. I love trans lesbian Iris Dark. Like, gave a lot of money to, like, conservative politicians and stuff. And then by the end, they're talking about how, like, they have, like, a fucking soul catcher in South Africa to catch, like, AIDS deaths or something that, like, used to be in, like, California. Or, like, it's just, like, horrible. but like it's so nakedly horrible and so evil. It's just like, oh, I love it. It's a really good moment in a pretty funny SCP, because so many times Marshall Carter and Dark are like kind of just like a little funny guy joke. Like, here's like a funny, weird thing a pervert would buy. But like, they're horrible.
Yeah.
And it's so much fun to read things that really lean into that. And not to say that there aren't. There are so many good ones that lean into that like I love. But like, that's definitely what that I think is a lead example of, just the harshness.
And I mean, you know, it's kind of meta in a lot of ways, because we're talking about it through the SCP verse, but it could be Nike or fucking Amazon or whatever, and all their bullshit. But yeah, I really, really like. I mean, the only one I want to call is Jews, which is really, really fucking funny. I'd like to announce a new Mister against weed. His name is Mr. Pinkwashing, and his power is to make corporations stop pretending that they give a shit about the gays. Coming soon to a pride parade near you.
How many likes does it have?
Like 5 or something.
Yeah,
nobody's even paying attention.
1 echo and 3 hums. I don't know what
and
those.
if you notice, he has like the default.
Yeah.
And I think his name is like Jude K.
Yeah, it's Jude K2. It's Jude underscore K2.
That's a joke I always lead into, is that like he is like really, he just like has no amount of cleverness when it comes to names.
Just
like
the most
his initial
basic bitch on social media.
Yeah, his initial username on the I think it's the Jude's Bizarre Venture hub page, is he comes into the IRC chat as Jude K. And is like, yo, what's up? And they're like, you sound like a Kafka character. You can't be Jude K.
Oh, man. But anyway, yeah, you should just go and read that one.
Yeah, it takes like 5 minutes. It's really good.
Yeah,
it's really funny. There's an SCP I wrote that is connected to it that is also pretty good, but the tale is better.
Linked.
If you're going to read one of them, read the tale. 100% honest. Like, the tale is integral. Like if you were for some reason had a gun to your head and you can only read one more, I would say pick the Chewbacca one. Like, it's better, but like mine is also pretty good.
Yes, it is.
And it is linked in there as well, so there you go.
Yeah, it better be.
It is, yes.
We wrote those together. You can tell because there's a required effort in like photoshopping, and mine was just words. I didn't even make the image in mine. I'm pretty sure she did. And yeah, I don't do things like that. Every single image I've ever used, by the way, has been photoshopped by someone else. Cousin Johnny, the little eye things were done by my ex for me. Like the little eye covers, like I do that kind of censorship.
You have people to do these things for you.
Yeah, I have people to do these things for me. Ooh, Hippo once did it for me just out of nowhere.
Jeez.
You
do have people to do these things.
I posted some and Hippo was like, these are great, but like, I'll fix it. And like, he just like gave me like these fantastic images. That's 4358. It's not even a GOI SCP. It's the one about I won't get into it. That's off topic. But he really, like, I just took a bunch of pictures when I was stoned walking with a friend in the woods that like I thought looked really evocative, and they did. And he was like, yeah, but I'm gonna color correct this or whatever the fuck, and he did, and it rules.
Nice. But
that's off topic.
No, it's okay. But we've got a bunch to go through. So I want to talk about this one that Communism Will Win wrote, which is SCP-2726.
Mashed pork,
which is just so it's so funny because I was expecting it to be, I'm not even sure what, like, you know, I wasn't expecting it to be some dark, twisted thing, but the way the setup works is, you know, I expected it to be this very funny kind of like, and it is funny, but like it ends up just being this really like kind of sweet conversation between a researcher and this and a
like
ghost.
Not even really that much of a joke. It's just like somebody chatting.
Yeah.
And we get some criticism though for this SCP, and sometimes it isn't funny. Have you heard me talk about that?
No. Nope.
That's who did somebody say yeah, or was that two no's?
No,
I said no, but I looked away from my microphone for no reason.
Okay, because that sounded weird. I didn't know what was up. Okay, no, but we get the criticism, and I can see where they get this. And like I've seen this post by like a couple different people, This isn't me being crazy and hyper focusing on one bit of criticism, even though I would do this.
We all do that.
But somebody was like, GOI writer challenge. Write about a trans woman who doesn't commit suicide. And like, A, that's unfair. There's just 2 of them, first off, and most of them haven't committed suicide.
Right.
But we have written, I think I killed off another woman, though, in Jude's Bizarre Adventure, so I do feel guilty about killing characters off the way I do. But I just always think that's unfair, because, like, we're, like, depressed LGBT people. Of course, we're going to write about trans suicide, at least at some point. Oh, and there's also that other article that Ripple made. That's why people get the criticism, too.
Yeah, because there's the 2 of them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I forgot about that one. Yeah, okay.
It did occur to me, like, I was like, oh, hey, there's another one in here where that happens.
Yeah,
that's depressing.
I think that's just because this is what, sadly, is most familiar to us.
No, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, like, let's face it. Like,
everybody's sad.
A lot of people who are queer and trans deal with a lot of, like, pretty horrible shit.
And this was written, like, right after Trump was elected, when everybody was super bummed out, and that is, like, evident in most of these early pieces.
Yeah, fair enough.
And this is how SCP readers work, too. If they see 2 of something, then as far as they're concerned, there's 7,000 of something.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I know. Do you remember when people, like, downvoted everything that was a sphere?
Yes. It's still, I don't know if it's still in there, but I remember when I joined, we don't make spheres anymore. And it was just like, what? Like, I didn't even know what that meant.
This SCP got highly rated, too.
Fucking kill you.
It was like, I swear to God, you guys all should look this up, readers. It's the SCP that's like a circular drone thing. And like, it's written by Smapty, who, by the way, is another one of my wiki nemesis, and I won't get into that. But it's...
you have so many nemesis.
Oh, I know, because I'm a crazy person. It's a drone that, like, says, like, vaguely Hebrew, like, Islamic kind of ancient Aramaic stuff. Like, it's like a pigeon kind of all that, like, hinted as being, like, maybe the language. But, like, it's obviously going to be a circle because it's a weird space drone. But, like, all of, like,
that's not true.
Enough of the initial comments are just, like, another sphere, dude. Downvote.
Yeah,
Dude,
I mean, I literally just saw someone, and I'm not going to call out who this was, leave a comment about how someone in a new article used the singular they too many times, so no vote. And they said that because they were a grammar enthusiast, because they forgot the fucking H.
Enthusiast.
That's because they forgot I love that so much that they decided to leave a comment being about how shitty and it wasn't even shitty. That's just that's totally accepted, and it wasn't even a gender thing. It was just like the neutral they, and they left a fucking typo in this. That's amazing.
This is the thing that I wrote. I wrote my shortest SCP, which I think it's about 50 words or 100
I'm
words.
Enthused to hear about it.
Well, that's what it is. The whole premise is the anomalously high odds that you will make a grammar or spelling mistake when you call out what you think is a grammar or spelling mistake. And there's a grammar or spelling mistake in the extremely short description. And one of the other researchers is like, hey, fuckhead, you made a mistake, and they make a mistake, which proves the point of the thing. But ever since I wrote that one, I've just been seeing people doing that on the wiki constantly.
All the time. Because it's like they're trying so hard to get their, like, weird critical take out as fast as possible so someone doesn't beat it to them.
Quickly typing,
and it's always about the most fucking pedantic and nitpicky thing. It's just like, who cares? Is that what mattered to you? That's why you didn't vote? And I know. Every time I've ever called out somebody for something like that on one of my articles, it's like, people can vote for whatever reason they want. I'm like, yeah, fine. But I'm allowed to tell them that they're being dumb.
You shall upvote me, that one.
Yeah.
They have paste.
That's true. They should all vote all of us.
You should be allowed to tell people they're tasteless.
Yes.
When they
Yes!
downvote your stuff.
And not
I feel like that
I mean,
should be a little bit
I
allowed.
don't think there's anything wrong with someone saying, "Hey, here's why this didn't work for me." That's good.
You're like, you're
That's
tasteless
helpful.
rube.
But
You're
yeah,
an idiot.
but when
from
people are
across
just
the
like,
internet.
I'm just gonna find
And I
this
hate
one
you.
thing to like
I hope
bitch
you
about.
die.
Oh my god.
I should be allowed to say that.
Shit. This
Well, we've established that.
this is the positive SCP podcast. Anyway, all right. Oh, well, you wanted to shout out a hopeless case by Fenton Street because you said that
Yeah.
this Fenton Street was one of the reasons why you made Jude a trans.
Yes. He asked me if I would, and I said sure. And
I thought there was going to be more to the story there.
he
Man,
said
that
it
is the
made a lot of
best.
sense. And he was like reading Jude and saying like, I can really see myself in a lot of Jude here. Like, and just like started talking about like how Jude would be in high school. And it just like all really worked. It just like was really kind of, it's like all stuff that like, if it's not in the, most of it is like just in that Discord, but like it was really instrumental in like sort of how I've approached Jude. Just because of his like insight, and then like I kind of forced him to write a tale. Actually, that was something I forgot.
It's a
to
good
mention.
tale too. It's
With Mr. Destiny, I bullied Scarhaver into writing that. Like they like
it's a lot of
she had
writing.
that. She had that like no, but the thing is, she had it mostly written for like almost a year. And I was like, you need to finish this, dude. Dude, you need to finish this. So like I wrote Miss Zapatista, and I included Mr. Destiny in it.
Oh yeah, there's a note
And-
in Scarharver's like author note about how you like how you pestered them by writing references to it in other things. So
Yeah,
good.
and like there's like multiple references to Nowhere. There's in sometimes it's not funny. Polar Ice Craps goes off
Yeah.
to Nowhere, and that was actually before Nowhere came out. That
That's
was
so
another
good.
thing I was like bullying
A
her into
pre-reference.
writing it.
That's like the most like wholesome way to bully someone.
Yeah, I
This
just
thing that
kept
you haven't
making
read,
it-
I'm gonna reference it.
I just kept making it canon, just because like I really liked it, and I was like, if you're not going to like post this for everybody to see, I'm just gonna work with it as though it's like my established building block. Like I'm just gonna use this as I want.
But I will say, Hopeless Case, it is a good article, and
It's really good.
It's really good, and it's frighteningly underrated.
Oh yeah,
The idea that this is a tale about Jude that is well written and is under 50 is
and
upsetting.
only one. It's like the only one he's ever written too. Like this
Right.
is like a one and done writer too, which may be why it like doesn't get a lot of eyes on it. But
Yeah,
like
maybe.
this is like it's funny that it's like it reminds me of this might be also older than your guys' like life on the wiki, but do you remember when Star Signals was posted?
No.
One of the first comments is like, I don't know, dude. This really doesn't seem fifthist to me. And the response is, I invented fifthist.
Well, Silver Escher kind of deserves it because every time Silver Escher came back and did something new with Fifthism, it was entirely different.
That's so true, though.
I mean, and it's great. I mean, I love that.
It's a good way to do it.
I was talking to Famine, and Famine had redone the hub for
The
Fifthism.
Southern. It was because of.
Oh yeah, the Southern, of course.
It was way more popular at the time.
Right, but I mean, it's so funny that like the hub now clearly calls out the fact that every single instance of
Yes.
the Fifthist cult is unique and different, and that's what it's meant to be like that. And so, like somebody was just asking me about like, oh, well, how would the
I like the smoke ones.
you know? Oh
The
yeah, me
smoke
too.
ones
Oh,
are the best ones.
I like the smoke ones too. I like them all, honestly. But
I haven't read much more than the smoke ones. It's funny. I have read like not a whole lot of the more modern wiki stuff. Like I'm like so old.
oh, that's okay.
like,
I'm gonna send you links to our stuff, and you're gonna read all of ours. It's fine.
I haven't read like I haven't even read SCP. I know you won. I don't believe I've read The
Oh,
Liar.
I did, didn't I?
Or The Loser.
Yeah.
I
I
called it The
barely
Liar.
remember
I wasn't even trying to do a bit or own you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, look, I won SCP 6000 with The Liar. It's true.
No, 7, right? 7.
Well, that's the joke,
Okay,
kid.
but you're doing a joke. Yeah, 7, right?
Doing a bit.
Rounder got 6. Canhoney got 5.
That's right. But
Okay, yeah.
really, in my heart, we got 6, so it's fine.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
haven't read from like 5,000 on. Like, I gotta be real. Like, I'm missing like thousands here.
God, the audience is just so identifying with you right now.
It's sad. I'm just like such a. I'm so lazy.
I just
Like,
talked to
unless
somebody
I wrote it,
who's
Or
a
if it's not
listener.
something I wrote.
I just talked to somebody
Like,
who's a
that's-
listener who's gotten other people to read and start reading on the wiki themselves from just the podcast.
Oh, that's cool.
That's the whole fucking point of this. It is so awesome.
Well, that's the ideal, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll-
Anyway,
we'll read
okay.
Yeah.
Wait, what? Oh, I was just going to switch. We're going to talk about Jude's Bizarre Adventure now.
Yay.
So,
And we can focus on the second tale because that's mostly Esther.
right, and the reason is
Yeah.
because we kind of talked about Phantom Blunt a little bit last time.
Oh, you did good.
Yeah, I mean, not a lot,
Yeah,
because
I'm sorry,
honestly,
I don't
it's a
listen
short...
to I don't listen to podcasts. I'm like such a
Yeah, we
bad guy.
established that.
I've
yeah.
never heard you.
No, 100%. You're the
I
worst.
still can't tell you
Anyway.
guys apart.
I know everybody says that, and we don't sound. I mean,
We don't sound anything
no,
alike.
I know, but you both sound like dudes, and I'm just like, who,
Well,
who
yes.
are these guys?
generic
No, I know, but like
heterosexual
dudes
male
I
voice.
know. Just like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
you sound like some like. I feel like I'm back at like Catholic all boys school.
Okay,
You're
I'm a
just, like, in
Jew,
the bud.
first of all.
I'm an atheist.
Yeah, well, a lot of Catholic boys schools are filled with atheists.
How many Jews are there?
Not a whole lot. TBH. Can't say they're breaking down the door.
Oh my god.
I'm excited about that one.
Yeah, no, that's really...
That was the high point right there.
Yeah, that's good. But just in general, kind of give your overview of the thought process behind Jude's Bizarre Adventure.
I kind of also, well, most of it is kind of about Are We Cool Yet, which is funny.
Yeah.
But I wanted to explore the fact that, like, most of these dudes are not doing art. So, like, I started thinking about, and the funny thing is, I thought of the last story first. Like, I really liked the idea of this, like, really mad and embittered critic who was super bummed that he was basically, like, Professor X for a bunch of, like, broken toys who, like, did war. Like, just, like, the maddest man in the world. Like, somebody who, like, spent his life studying art, painting, refining his talents, and just because of his weird little terrorist collective, he got soldiered with fucking Jude and Alexander and the dude who fucks bugs. Like, imagine how mad you would be. A lot of my... Oh, that's funny. That was what I was... the thing I was trying to remember for 2293 is in my head, I have an idea that the two AI who are assigned to, like, look for the phrase are, like, super mad. Hate their job.
Well, they would be,
And,
right?
like, hate Jude because there's a part in 3420 where one of the AI tries to kill Jude, and people are always like, why would the Foundation play a tone that could kill Jude? And in my head, it's because that AI was like, I'm gonna fucking do it.
Oh, that's
Done
really...
with this. I'm done with this.
really fucking good. I like that so much.
But, like, it's something that, like, you can't ever... It's like a super subtle thing that's really only in there for me. But, like, that's, like, in my head constantly, that the Atlas and Gorgon AI is assigned to the Stephen King quote, or just, like, everybody else is looking up, like, fucking ancient
Right.
Adetum texts and shit, like some Sarkic stuff, saving the world, and these guys have to find fucking Donald Trump saying the Stephen King line. Like, that's what they have to do their whole waking life.
So fucking good.
But yeah, sorry. The whole thing with Jude's Bizarre Adventure is I really wanted to kind of explore that fact that most of the art they produce is just like terrorist shit.
Yeah.
And just like I started thinking about, well, what would Jude realistically have done if he was in that position? Because I do really like the idea of Jude as kind of having been a murderer.
Yeah.
Because it just makes him work somehow. But like also I still am really into JoJo's Bizarre Adventure at the time.
Oh, you
and
can't
I thought
tell.
it was really I thought it was really funny that like imagine how mad the critic is too. That every single dude he hangs with is really committed to this bit. And he doesn't even like the bit. He's not even super into the bit. Because even like in the last tale, he like doesn't really want to give his stand name because he thinks it's fucking stupid. But like, yeah, and I just really like to play with that and like kind of stand fights and like what would kill Jude. But the second tale, I guess, it's called Bong Rip Tendency.
Which is such a good
I don't know why
title.
I'm asking you.
Yeah,
I
didn't write it.
Yeah, that was like a question. But this one mostly centers on Esther and her relationship with Jude, and also kind of contrasted with his relationship with someone named Alexander,
Right.
who is actually based on my, in real life, best friend from Catholic Boys High School, Alex. Like, we're like bros, and like pretty much every line that Alexander says that isn't like the real obvious mad stuff that he says to bait Jude, but like is like a crazy thing he's told me. He's like always he in a non-fascist way is for some reason really into like ancient gods and myths.
Right.
In like a way too intense way.
I mean,
Yet not fascist.
yeah. I'm not a fascist. I'm super progressive. That shit's fucking cool.
No,
It's been
not
co-opted
like
by assholes.
Not like he does. He like
Sorry,
it's like
you're
a
gonna die
religion
in a stand
thing.
fight now.
No, like he's actually like talking, like he like tells me like, no, it's a good omen. I saw a hawk.
Oh god.
Like I'm talking like I like live like he's like a pagan. He's like an ancient
Oh, I see.
that like I'm friends with.
Yeah.
But like he just like, and these are all just like beliefs that like he just just like as natural as anything else. So like I really thought it would be funny to have something like that as a stand user. And I really like the song Temple of Love, so I made that.
Right.
And I also, but with the Esther stuff, I guess I really wanted to kind of, since Jude is kind of like trying to become a better person through this series, I also kind of wanted someone else to. So like that's why kind of Esther, like she comes from it honestly. Like you can understand why she would be like this. Is like she like does not really like men and is like a little bit of a like turf. I would think at that point.
Yeah,
But,
she's
like,
introduced
the
as the antagonistic foil to everybody else.
Yeah. But like the thing is like, and then in that tale it's kind of revealed that she was like the oldest daughter of like I forgot what I call it, but they're magic Jewish people. They're basically, I invented this kind of there's like an Orthodox sect in I think the Three Portlands is where we settled it. But like that just they can all kind of do what Esther does. They speak like the language of God. They like have command over like the actual like, well, like it's debatable if that's what it actually is, even in the text, but like, so they can basically make you do or see whatever you want, and they're basically like just very serious Orthodox Christian, Orthodox Jewish people.
Grigori intensifies.
Who happen to be able to do that. Like that's like that's like secondary to like their like beliefs, but like it's still very important. And I kind of took it from the bad guys in Pi. Like it's a little bit of a riff on that.
Of course, the ones who kidnap him because they think he can use his thing to
it's
figure
a
out
little bit of a riff
God's
on
name.
that. And I really
Right.
like the idea. Yeah, I really love the idea of like I kind of morphed it into like an original language of God kind of thing.
Well, you're already kind of in bad territory saying that there are Jews out there that like can speak the language of God.
And who can't?
Sure.
But I basically really, because her father is like really kind of old-fashioned.
Mm-hmm.
And the funny thing is, I Catholic all my life, but whenever I watch anything, the Jewish characters and the Jewish stuff is always the most interesting, and I
Of
don't
course
know
it
why.
is. What?
So
Of course
I think
it is.
That's why
We're the
I
best.
really focused on Esther. Like, I really loved creating her. And the funny thing is, I'm watching this show on FX right now called The Patient. Have you heard of that?
Yeah, I haven't watched it.
There's a lot. Yeah, listen, the serial killer stuff is unimportant. There's a really interesting subplot about the therapist and the therapist's son who, like, kind of, they're like a really kind of reform Judaism, like real kind of liberal, but the son like goes super orthodox, and there's like a lot of friction in the family, and like every single like flashback to that is the most compelling TV I've seen in a while. For some reason, that just really gets me. I love it. It's so interesting, and it's just.
I mean, that's a real thing that happens in some Jewish families.
No,
I mean,
I know, but
it's a real thing that happens to like some Islamic families as well.
Oh yeah, of course.
Not Christian, because they're all fundamental crazy people.
Atheists not so much.
Yeah.
Well, no, some of the atheist people turn out like Richard Dawkins types, and that's
Yeah, I was gonna say
and
the
the
friction between the
son
atheists is the ones who are fucking horrible.
That's right.
Turf racist, sexist.
That's right.
pieces of
Like
shit and everybody else.
apparently, and I don't know if this is only in the super orthodox group that he is in. Like, I can't speak authoritatively about this kind of thing, but there's like all this strife, but because like I guess they don't like women singing the thing. I forgot what it's called.
Yeah.
What's the thing, Grigori?
I mean, I don't. It depends.
The cantor or something.
Yeah.
I can't,
Yeah.
like-
So, I mean, I'm not going to speak to anyone who's Orthodox. I
But,
was
like,
not raised
that's
that way,
why
so I don't know.
writing.
But I know
That's
that there's
why-
a lot of gender, like, norm stuff that's really reinforced
Esther
with
was
it. That's like,
Esther was never allowed to like learn
sure.
like along with her brothers, and that killed her. So
Yeah, like women are
she
not allowed,
basically
like
made
in a
everyone
traditional
forget.
sense. In a traditional sense, women are not allowed to like learn the Kabbalah or learn the Torah. I mean, like it's
Yeah.
it's
See, I
it's
didn't
not
want
good.
to
It's not great.
say it.
It's not great.
I don't want to be the one, but like I did do research, so
Yeah.
like.
No, I get what you're
Wanted
saying.
Grigori to bring it up.
Yeah, it's fair. It's fair.
But like, so like she's like very kind of. It makes sense that she kind of hates men and is distrustful
Yeah.
of men because of that. Because her own father, like, even though like she was her father's daughter, she feels betrayed.
And
That
it's-
she was like never.
I just want to
allowed
double check,
like-
and it's maybe because I've had too much wine this evening. But like Esther is lesbian Gengar, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, I should have said that.
No, it's fine. I mean, I'm pretty sure I knew that already. I just wanted to double check.
No, but the reader doesn't. The listener. The listener doesn't. Oh yeah, Esther is lesbian Gengar. JJ is Jock Jams. They are the founders of GOI, and they are riding through America, but I really don't ever say where it is because I don't
Yeah.
care about geography.
Yeah.
They're going to try to kill the critic because the critic did the horrible SCP about the
1800.
yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. Basically, he didn't do it, but he kind of caused it to be made.
Right. And
And that like shattered Jude.
Right.
And so Jude is like basically killing off everybody that comes at him as he tries to
for the listener, this is kind of what we were talking about with 1168 last episode.
Yep.
Yeah. So basically, and so there's like this kind of in the background that she doesn't like. She deals with JJ because like a lot of kind of turfy women, gay men are kind of this sexless other. So like she's always been fine being friends with JJ.
Sure.
But
Right.
Jude is like this like. Jude is horrible. He's like messy. He keeps smoking. He can't drive.
Right.
He's like he's
Right.
just like
Piece of
useless.
shit.
He's just like he sucks. He's just like he's a great guy, maybe.
He's also
You
really
gotta get
sour
used
at the
to
beginning
Jude.
too.
You really got to get used to Jude. Like Jude is like somebody who grows on you. So she is just like fuck this guy.
I also kind of like, if I'm remembering correctly, like early on, it's kind of mentioned that like Jude's kind of like messy, right?
Yes.
Not kind of like messy, specifically smells like shit.
Right. Like
6 or
really
7
bad
times.
hygiene.
And he like gets food all over himself and stuff. So like he's just like a dog that like for some reason JJ has attached himself to, and just because she's like his best friend, she's just going along with it. She hates Jude. This is like kind of fun for her at this point. But in meeting kind of Alexander, she kind of realizes, well, she finds out that Jude is trans, and this isn't exactly like a 1 to 100 character change, but she starts to realize, if Jude used to be a girl and sucks so bad now, maybe trans stuff is right. And that's kind of like the crux of her change as a character, is like seeing the fight between Alexander and Jude, and Alexandra's like kind of, Alex, the thing about Alex, we're such Catholic schoolboys that we both still call each other by our last names. So I constantly keep in my head going into that. But anyway, Alex like had a way of kind of like commanding a room. And so like I thought that would be really fun to bring into a stand, and that was like the most fun part to write. Is the Temple of Love kind of like
Yes.
like this battle of the wills. Kind of like Stephen King's Ritual of Chud. Like almost like you know what I mean? Like they're both like kind of staring each other down until the other flinches. And I really liked the idea of somebody's stand power being something that like could fuck them over immediately. Like kind of in the vein of like Superfly from part 4.
Sure.
Like and that's the tower that you can't get out of.
Right.
Yeah, but so just like the idea of like if he loses this battle of wills, he disappears into nothing.
Yep.
And like that's like something he's like really like accepting over. Like he's like fine with that.
Something I really liked about these as well, all 4 of them, is that at first it really it seems like the stands are going to be like these, it's magic powers, and it is that. But so often it is not as simple as like someone throwing a fireball, and I really dig that they're all weird. Like one of them's a tower you can't get out. Yes, nice. But that's something I think that it really speaks to, like the readability of it, and like the fact that yes, this is a very JoJo inspired thing, which is something I know nothing about, and I don't really like that cartoon, but. Like, I get that because of the weird, interesting powers and all the good character stuff, obviously.
I think one of my favorite JoJo's Bizarre Adventure jokes I make in it is I think there's a part in maybe the 4th one where Esther says that she doesn't have a stand, she has Jewish Haman.
Yes.
That's like my favorite part. I really thought I came up with that line like so long before, and I was so happy to use it. Like, no one really cares about it. But,
no,
like,
it's a good line.
That's like hysterical.
No,
the fact that she had thought about this for a very long time beside her. Like, she didn't want to have to think about this, but she is now. She's all in now. She's all in, and she's doing Jewish Haman. And I also like the idea of it being kind of analogous to that. Like, she kind of like has a mastery over the art. Like, kind of like how Joseph Joestar had a mastery over Haman.
I love so much from the last one that somebody asks, are Jewish people fight a lot of vampires? That's why we invented golems, a bloodless warrior. Just
Did I say that?
Yes. It's
That's
so
funny.
That's why I read it.
Line.
We're helping you to discover yourself.
But all right, we're gonna move on now, though. So a couple of the ones, and I've included only 3 of them that we've got recommended from some of the listeners. One of them was the Eternal Mixtape, but
It's really good.
It's incredible. It's incredible.
One of the most amazing tale series on the wiki that does not get enough love.
Yeah, it's really quite impressive. it's a mixed
Mixmaster
series
is amazing.
because it's both a there's a couple of SCPs and there's 4 tales, and it's about these this one GOI member and then one researcher and kind of how they overlap multiple times. Not going to go into it like dramatically, but it starts. Well, I mean,
It's beautiful.
the really brilliant thing is how there is different ways to read it, which is really very interesting. That you can actually read them in different orders.
Yeah, Sir Cell is amazing.
Yeah, Sir Cell
the
is.
writer,
This
yeah.
is really impressive because I read this today and kind of tried to keep in mind that you could read them in different orders, and it really works. It's brilliant because the SCPs and the tales kind of expand upon each other, but it really doesn't matter which ones you read first. Anyway, it starts off, if you read it in the very natural sort of order, the original order, with an anti-racist audio cassette, which is very similar. It's very good. It's very similar to the idea.
The Sheriff Star. It's kind of in that vein, which was the first kind of leftist SCP. I mean, Jesus, leftist GOI
Sure.
SCP. Jesus, I'm not going to claim I wrote the first. But Scans
I would have
wrote it.
believed it.
It's the thing that makes the Keystone Cops come
Mhm.
and
Right.
like ruin the proceedings. So like you and your friends can run away.
Right.
It's like kind of in that vein, like something that would help a protester. And that's what I really like about that first one.
Yeah, but I
what I
also
love
think
about
that
the
it's kind of
anti-racist cassette.
interestingly like related in some ways to like 2293 in the
Oh,
sense that like this was meant for a very specific thing, and then it kind of gets discovered
Yeah.
in a very different way. Like I love that so much. Like it was made for this very specific, not a joke this time, but to fuck over some fucking like right-wing asshole.
It's really funny.
And then at the end, we got this researcher who's like interrogating the GOI member and being like, well, are you a fan of the dead Kennedys? And he's like, oh. Like, oh, you found that out. It's really quite brilliant. It's not very
They're all
long.
good.
Yeah, it's only 6 articles, 2 SCPs and 4 tales. I really just think that people should go and read it. It's very, very smart, and yeah, it's obviously very progressive. So
And it's a whole it like kind of introduces like a new central
generation.
character.
Yeah.
Like Mixmaster, right? That's
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I hate getting the other usernames wrong. The usernames are sometimes so hard to keep in your head.
Oh yeah.
But I really like Mixmaster.
Oh, Mixmaster's great. I do want to read out. There's these hilarious things that happen at the very top of the hub, which I'm going to include in the description, the show notes. I mean, there are 5 different synopses of what this series is about, which is really, really funny to me.
That's a good joke.
It's a good joke, and I feel like it's been done a few times, but the one that I mean, there's a couple of them, but it's about a non-binary medium magician with dissociative disorder so severe they disbelieve themselves out of existence. It's also about an unlucky Foundation employee who wants so badly to do the right thing, etc., etc. But that's like a very straightforward one, but that's like right in the middle. But the one that makes me laugh so hard is the Eternal Mixtape is sorta like Doctor Who by way of Slaughterhouse-5 if Billy Pilgrim was a genderqueer MSTK 3K dork and regeneration entailed a brief eternity in the abyss. It owes a lot to Douglas Adams and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, but you don't have to worry about that unless you're into it.
It's a much better joke than what I tried to do a little bit on the hub page for Jude's Bizarre Adventure.
Oh, sure.
Like I give like a couple like kind of
No, I like that too.
This
though.
this is funny. I feel like Sir Cell's is way funnier. It just works.
I read
so
that
much
joke.
better.
I read that joke on Jude's Bizarre Adventure hub at last episode. I think it's fucking hilarious that there's so many different crossed out
the
ones.
alternate titles.
Yes.
I like the Sad Boy Doped Up the Doped Up Sad Boy Chronicles is a funny.
Yeah.
Yes.
That never
I
left
really
my mind
like
after I saw it the first time. That's been stuck in my head this
It's
whole
very
time.
funny. But anyway,
It's just so sad.
it is honestly Jude's Bizarre Adventure is a great fucking adventure, like revenge
It's just
epic.
about
It's
dude who's
funny,
got
but it is
depression
kind of
and it
sad.
Kind of sucks.
Yeah.
And
he-
JJ for some reason loves him.
Well, he's been through some
I
traumatic
really
shit.
like writing that too. That's the most fun thing is writing like 2 characters who will never get together, but for some reason one is really attracted to they're both attracted to each other in ways they can't explain because they're both weird.
Yep.
But like I really like writing that. Like
Nice.
I think in a couple there's like at least one Alt Jude tale where like he's the dude who ran into 3004 because JJ broke up with them and he wanted to prove or something. Like it's a crazy tale. It's something I did for like the Shaggy Dog contest or whatever the fuck.
Right.
It's like a Shaggy Dog story, I guess. I just wanted to write the tale. I don't even know if it's a fucking Shaggy Dog story. It's called The Things I Did for Love.
That's
mean,
almost
great.
content entry show.
I mean, honestly, that's why we write most things on the wiki.
Yeah. I like was like, I guess this is a Shaggy Dog story. Fuck it.
I don't even remember
And I
what that
did none
means.
of the
What is a
others.
Shaggy Dog story again?
A Shaggy Dog story is, I'll do it very quickly, because I haven't been talking. It's a guy sees an ad in a paper that says rich person's lost their dog, it's a shaggy dog, and they're gonna give it a reward if you can find the dog. And the guy finds a dog and it's a pretty shaggy dog, and he sees the dog, goes, yeah, this is a pretty shaggy dog, and he takes it and he tries to call the phone number, but the phone number doesn't work, and he tries to find anybody who knows how to find the rich person, and the
Better
rich
make
person
than lever.
found. And then they find that they have a friend who knows the address of the guy, but the friend's not available, but he gets a friend who's with the friend to, switch phones, and he gets the address for the house, and he goes to the house, and the door's locked, and he presses the intercom button, and the intercom doesn't work, and there was a guard, but the guard's gone to the washroom, so he can't go there. So eventually he climbs over.
This is basically them too.
He climbs over the fence of the rich person's house, and the rich person's security guard sees the person and shoots him dead. But he's left the dog outside, and the rich person comes out and looks at the dog and goes, well, my dog wasn't that shaggy.
Yeah.
So a Shaggy
And
Dog story is a
sometimes it's
really
fun.
long, goes on
Sometimes
story
it's a
that ends up
fun.
having no point.
Better Nate than lever is the one I always heard. That's the
Yeah.
pun at the end. It's about a snake bite. It's really long.
Right.
God. Yeah, I
So
don't
the
think I
ending
actually
is
even
like-
knew what those were. Okay.
Total lack of catharsis for
Yeah.
what you had to go through at
Like,
the
that's
beginning.
the joke. Like, you know who told those all the time? Norm Macdonald.
Oh God,
sure,
yeah, Norm Macdonald, everything he did was a Shaggy Dog
Yeah,
story.
Norm Macdonald was the master of the Shaggy Dog story.
Right.
Like,
right.
if you, like, after this, you want to go look up one because you're real bored or something, check those out. And he also tells them really well, especially because anytime he's telling them, the listener, like, knows what's happening, and it's like a slow motion car crash
Yep.
that you can't get out of.
I always thought he was really funny, but he's kind of an asshole.
He is. No, of course he is.
Okay.
But, like, he's like a horrible man, but he's
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah. No, he's funny. Yeah, of course he was. Yeah.
It's really complex.
I
He
mean,
was, like, super-
funny people
he
are
was, like-
funny people are often assholes.
Yeah, he was like pretty unprogressive about certain things, but he also told a real great Shaggy Dog story. Vera Drew, who did the 12th season of On Cinema, talked a lot about like how that was like how like reconciling her transness with like Norm Macdonald kind of being like her comedy idol.
Well,
Interesting stuff.
yeah, that sounds good. I'll go look that up. But
Yeah, I
We're gonna
I
move
doubt
on.
You can find it because her Twitter's mostly selfies now, but she's very funny.
but we're gonna talk about a couple more
We've got
articles. And then
two
we're gonna
more.
get the
We
fuck
can
out of
handle
here.
this. We can do
So
this. We can do
the
this.
other one that we're going to talk about, we mentioned it earlier by Rimple, is SCP-3772, which is Who Did This?
Rimple.
Yeah.
Who put Bella in the witch elm?
It's a phenomenon whereby internet content meeting certain criteria will convert to a video or infographic relating to the death of Faith Basson in 2020. The content changed must not be owned or created by the person who posted it, and a caption or within the content alludes to a desire to discover the content's creator, like who did this.
It's really good.
It's really good. It most oftenly manifests as like a static image of this individual, Faith Basson, with caption providing details of her disappearance and discovery of her body. What's really fun is that, not fun, but
But I know
That's a great segue from
this-
what you just said. Yeah.
well, I know, but it forces the UIU to take over management from the Foundation because the Foundation asked them to, and with their input, the suspects in the case are apprehended, and right after that, the manifestations go away.
I really love that.
I love it because it's a GOI member
purposeful.
trying to force someone like beyond
I love
all
the GOI
reasonableness
do
to like find justice. I mean,
yeah.
there's even chat logs where like it's very clear that this GOI member is like, you know, it's Wari Sue is like way too intense about it, and like they're having to be like, hey, you got to calm the fuck down because they're so fucking upset about it, which is reasonable because their friend is dead.
I really like it. It's just somebody who's really kind of I don't want to use the word monomaniacal, but it almost is.
Yeah,
but in the positive way.
But right, but the end goal is like, you know, a justice.
Like if Ahab was good.
Yes, yes, exactly. Only if they were like their end goal, and hopefully afterwards they reach some sort of catharsis. I mean, clearly the implication is that somewhat there was because, you know, the manifestations go away. But this really like emphasizes to me like the other side of GOI, which is that like
social conscious.
Yeah, I mean that like, you know, genuinely like social, you know, warrior type stuff in a good way.
Yeah. No,
it's
I know.
really good. And like all of them, the dialogue between different GOI members is kind of the shining part of the show. But
yeah, I'm always so happy when other people do it well, especially people who are not in like my very small Discord chat.
Mm-hmm.
So like this is why I really like this one and Sir Cells and those, because like those are like untouched by me.
Yeah,
almost.
No, I totally get it.
Like that's even better.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm the same with Victim. When like somebody like comes out and goes, "Hey, I did this thing. What do you think about it?" And I'm like, "Holy shit!" The last one was a brand new author, and I liked it so much I made 2 photoshopped images for them.
Fantastic.
I came back with the crit, and I was like, "Also, I made these 2 images for you. Do you like them?"
That's perfect.
Please say you like them because I love this. Yeah, it probably was kind of guilted into it. Yeah. But yeah, I you know, like a lot of these we're talking about, you know, GOI has this wonderful sense of humor to it, but also there's that really like good heartbreaking / heartwarming aspect of like, you know, progressive, you know, just like good shit. And I also picked one which was just because I think it's fucking hilarious, which is SCP-4914, which is Gamer Against Weeds by
that one's all right,
by Mr. Pines, just because I thought it'd be a funny one to go out on.
I like that.
It's so funny.
Isn't it? Doesn't it trick you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is. It's like the Doom joke.
Yeah, it's the Doom joke. It's the Doom can be played on anything, but in this situation, it's Doom. That anything that is played on, anything Doom is played on by this WAD, which is a specific like custom Doom file, will start growing like weeds, and not even weed. And not even like just weeds like crabgrass, like out of the computer.
No, that's a good joke.
It's so fucking funny.
This one really weirded me out. I felt like you were directly targeting me by including it because I am in the process of replaying Doom.
Original
Doom games, and this came
I just played those.
A
couple months ago. I never had.
What?
They're still very fun. The speed.
Yes.
I mostly play JRPGs.
I mean, that's fair.
For some reason only. Like every now and then I'll go into like Fallout and stuff. I actually preferred Fallout 1 and 2.
Yeah.
When it was very heavy dice rolls.
Yes, those are better.
Yeah, they're but like I still love New Vegas.
Yeah, New Vegas is terrific.
It has more stats.
Yes.
I love damage threshold. That's my favorite stat in any video game ever, and I don't know why.
Very quick. Do you like JRPGs? Have you played Xenogears?
You know what's funny? I got that because there was a kid who like I knew from AOL who was like always like slightly older than me, who was like, dude, you gotta get Xenogears. You're gonna love Xenogears. And like Xenosaga had just came out, and he was like, I'm so excited. You're gonna love Xenosaga 2, and I loved Xenosaga.
Xenosaga's a great. It's not.
When I got Xenogears, I did not get into Xenogears.
Oh no!
I guess I feel like if I played it now, I would. But like, I had never really like the most complex anime I'd watched at that point was Tenchi Muyo. And,
Oh my God, I
was, like,
love-
not feeling.
I love.
I was like
touching
not really feeling what was happening.
Yeah, Xenogears is on a whole other
But
level.
what's funny is I was like super I was like at that point where anime was a little cringe to me, and like I could pretend that the very anime Xenosaga was like somehow less anime than Xenogears.
Yeah.
And like I don't know what kind of split-brainedness I needed to do to convince myself of that, because they are both equally anime. They're just made in different decades.
They're very different sorts of anime. Like Xenogears is very much like the very serious 80s, 90s anime.
Oh yeah.
And
It's
then
like Dragon Ball Z, but serious.
No, it's more like Zephon or like fucking
It's
like
Dragon Ball Z
Evangelion.
serious.
What?
Put that in your
How
little
dare you?
iPod.
How dare you? No.
Put that in your little podcast.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
You're gonna get taken down for. Doom.
Oh yeah. Stop playing that. Anyway.
No, I won't actually, because the beauty of the Doom music is it's all actually plagiarized from rock songs that were popular at the time, and they would
That
not
true?
dare
That's-
issue
Okay,
a copy.
George
That's
Romero.
good. That's good. That's a good
They
point.
would
George
never dare.
Romero.
No,
I made a
not
funny joke.
not George Romero. John Romero.
John Romero, is that it?
George Romero
I
is
made the wrong
Zombie guy.
reference.
Night of the Living Dead.
Who's the dude who made Doom?
John Romero.
John
George
Romero's about to
Romero
make you-
made.
Well, there's a lot of people that made Doom.
George Romero made fucking
No.
the zombie.
George
Yes.
Romero did.
Yes, Don
George.
Dead.
Good.
Anyway,
Well, obviously that's his son.
no.
Very clearly. I think it
No,
actually
they're
works out
related.
more or less.
They're related.
Yeah, but this
Very
is a good. This is a good
serious
point. We
Thanksgiving
There's two
should.
people named Carmack who made Doom out of the 4 people who made Doom, and they're not related.
I know it's really strange.
Anyway,
But I am always like 3 or 4 times a year I replay Doom 1 and Doom 2. Like I love them. I mean I love first person shooters, but I only love the old ones. Like I don't.
Oh,
the
that's
old ones have spirit.
Prey. What are
I-
you talking about?
Oh, that's true, but I don't think Prey is. I like those
you
are.
can
That's an
have so many
immersive
weapons.
sim.
You can have so many. Shut up. You can have. So
No,
many
immersive sims are not shooters. Shooters are
Immersive
only
sims is a
interested
new
in shooting.
Genre.
That's right, and it's the best genre.
No, but there is something different spirited about the older games. Because,
Yeah.
like there was no like limit to how many weapons you could have. There's
Exactly.
no that 2-weapon bullshit.
Also, it has like
limit.
a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them have like a really kind of weird tongue-in-cheek sense of humor. Like Doom certainly does.
Doom's
Blood. I just played Blood for the first time last year, and Blood is
sweet.
Blood is incredible.
Blood is fucking.
I can't believe I did.
sweet.
It's so good, and it's so in love with horror
Blood
media.
is like magic shit,
Ugh,
and it
I love it.
rules. You know what also is good, and this is completely off topic, but kind of close? Have you ever played Shadow Man?
Yes, Shadow Man's
Dude,
good.
Isn't it weird that is just basically grimdark Zelda?
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, that's fair. But then they made there's not them, but those like the Horsemen of the Apocalypse games, where the Darksiders is basically grim dark Zelda as well.
Oh yeah, they keep doing that.
It's kind of fun. I don't mind it.
That's
I mean,
funny.
shit, Dark Souls is grim dark Zelda.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, all right.
I really
So
love 'em.
let's get back on track. SCP-4914. It's very funny. It's a joke that's like really obvious. The author even says in the author
good
note, like, "How has no one done this yet?" It's very very funny. Go read it.
I'm surprised no one had,
I know, me too.
because nobody had.
But let's do some emails. I just got another one actually,
Some
which is
email.
pretty
Oh,
nice. So why don't Harry? Why don't you read this one from Gizmo, and I'll read this
excuse
new
me.
one.
Okay. that was greetings from Kinch to Gizmo. All
I
right.
just keep burping. I'm a
Gizmo.
great guest.
You are a great
Been
guest.
an excellent guest,
Yes.
no joke. This is fantastic. This is again, I think, the funniest one we've done.
Yeah,
Anyway,
easily.
greetings from Gizmo. Let me say this, and that I will. Gamers Against Weed, my absolute beloved. They were the first GOI.
Shut up. Take the compliment.
No, I
Really?
love him. No, I do. I actually know this dude on Twitter.
Yeah, Gizmo's great.
Gizmo's
They're
great.
great.
They were the first GOI I really got hooked by on the wiki, and I went into a deep dive of reading so many of their articles, ellipsis, which inevitably led me to read a bunch more unrelated articles due to crosslinks. Yeah.
That's the way it works.
I love crosslinks.
Yep.
Crosslinks are life. Seriously, I'd say that they were as important as OG43, whatever that is, in formatting my wiki experience.
Shut up.
What made me really vibe with them is that they offer what I love to read, humane, grounded stories driven by characters. And what great characters! Jude and Bones and Esther and Ellipsis. Stories of people being good, doing good, or trying, if only on a small scale. Or a bigger scale, like with Mr. Destiny and Ms. Zapatista. And of course, the funnies. Can't forget the funnies. I love the growth they go through as a group. They're not just a group of stupid memers. They're so much more. I'd love to rant more about this, but gotta keep this email short enough, and this week's guest has already talked at great length about it. And there's a hyperlink. What's the hyperlink to?
It's to SCP Declassified.
Nice.
Oh,
Fantastic.
yeah, I wrote a declassification of GOI.
Fantastic D-Class, Kinch.
I won $15 or something for that. And I remember they were like, how do you want this? And I was like, Nintendo dollars.
Yeah!
It's like not an option, but like I still got it.
That's amazing.
Amazing.
They've also influenced what I write. So far, I've written for 2 internet-based comedy plus commentary articles, have another in the drafts, and GAW even show up in 2 out of these 3. Question time. Who are some of the strangest people you've met or witnessed online? And
SCP authors.
Just all the SCP authors. Yes, they are literally fucking weird.
Let's face it.
Oh, yeah.
If you like SCP, you're already a little strange. If you feel like writing or creating SCP content, you're even more strange. It's like within a little, like, each, like, niche within a niche within a niche.
Instead of answering that question, I'm going to explain my one-sided beef. SMAPD.
Oh, no. No.
Listen this long. It's my
I want to
very,
hear it.
All right.
my very first article, 1390. It's that anomalous grammar structure.
Oh, yeah.
His comment is, we don't need another language SCP. And I have a comeback ready years later that I can't use anymore, which is that didn't stop you from writing. No, goddamn, But basically the joke was, fuck you, you wrote a bunch of British talking animals. It didn't stop you. Why don't you write another talking animal about it? You motherfucker.
Well, we've settled that wrong, finally.
No, but it's really funny to me because like he's like, this is like a thing he just like said once, but like I have like an own ready and I can never use it and it burns me.
Because now, like way too late, it would seem like super. Yeah, I know exactly.
Yeah,
what you mean.
it'd be like what a crazy person would do. It's like I posted it like in 2012 or something.
Oh my god.
We'll have SMAPD on sometime. You can come in and just ambush with it out of nowhere.
Say, you motherfucker. It was always, and then he like took Lord Blackwood. Like people thought he wrote Lord Blackwood because he wrote all the Blackwood tales. That was funny.
Well, okay, to be fair, the Blackwood SCP is whatever. The Blackwood tales are great.
They got a little bit much. The first ones were better.
I like that 093 one so goddamn much that whatever.
Lord Blackwood and the Lands of the Unclean.
Goddamn right.
Lord Blackwood and the beep 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 beep.
All right.
Okay, so one more email.
My SCP, so fuck him.
Second email.
Sure. Second email is from Real Surreal Sir. Hey,
of course it is.
Of course it is. Hey, a cool episode last week. Segueing into Gamers Against Weed. Didn't realize they were more than a passingly connected to God, to be honest, or that God actually split off from them. Yeah, I feel like this was a mistake. Didn't realize that.
Be a little confused, fella.
Segueing into Are We Cool Yet? Didn't realize they were more than passively connected to God, or that God actually split off from them. I assume I find out more about those origins in this episode. Yes, you will.
Somewhere in there.
It's a mystery.
Between all the different tangents and talking about JRPGs. By the way, I notice y'all usually fully say out AWCY or GAW. Am I the only one who reads/thinks of them phonetically like Aussie?
Oh, I think of them
and
phonetically too. I think of them GAW and Aki.
This is that it is canonically GAW now, so.
Yeah, I've even adopted it. And also, how can you ask that of me, Real Surreal Sir, who's the only person who says victim like victim?
This is true. This is very true.
And I created it!
It took me a little bit to realize. I kept thinking, how is it victim?
It took me a while, and I've written it.
Do you know how many people have come up to me, but like in a Discord or something, and been like, wait, Is that supposed to be like victim? Fucking yes!
Is it supposed to be like victim?
Yes!
Well, the fuck, that's not the weirdest thing, though. Like, it's still like a call sign for a radio station or
Yes.
a perfectly normal
Oh, it
acronym.
could be a call sign for radio.
Well, that's the first
original one.
victim article
See, I
is
haven't read any FCPs.
But like, Grigori, people talk about my canon, whose name is fucking nonsense unless you get the joke, and they don't get the joke. Like,
I know.
how are you hearing that and not...
I just saw someone talking about it in one of the Discords today.
You're talking about the liar, right?
talking to the Meyer again.
on guard 43. Oh, sorry. I mean on guard 43.
Like, how... Anyway.
Well, it's your fault for saying 43 instead of 43.
One of these days, I'm going to end up singing the national anthem just to further clarify it.
You should.
Yeah, okay.
You should do it. Go for it right now.
Don't.
No. I'm not doing that to
Well,
my
he was
friend.
gonna. It was gonna be the Canadian. It was gonna be a
hate
Canadian.
Every
It's fine.
single episode, whenever they think it's clever to do a little musical episode.
Okay.
I
Wait.
believe it's a
Have you
musical.
ever seen the show The
Yes, I've seen
Magicians?
Buffy.
No.
No, oh yeah, I've seen that one. That one's okay.
Okay.
Listen,
All right.
you could do every single musical and just say it normal words, and don't make me listen to a whole fucking song. And then sing Disney movies. I even hated that as a kid. We don't need to sing about this.
Yeah, I don't like musicals
We're
either.
one and done. Just say what you need to say and let's get moving. I want to see the fucking
Say what you need to
flying
say.
carpet.
Say what you need to say.
I want to see
Fuck,
the
I hate
flying
that
carpet
song.
go through fucking
I don't even
magma or
know
whatever the
what
hell.
song you're talking about.
Oh, it's by
You
one
don't
of those
need to know.
fucking asshole crooner pieces of shit from the mid-2010s. Fucking hate
You
those
don't
songs.
need to know.
I see. Well, all right.
Actually, the only musical I like is oh god damn it, what's the funny one with the evil plant? Little Shop of Horrors.
Oh, that one's
Little
real
Shop of
good.
Horrors is actually... It was John Mayer, see? Like, piece of shit. Who needs
The
I don't-
dentist song is super funny.
Hilarious.
Little Shop of Horrors is great.
Little Shop of Horrors
really
is really funny.
Free.
We're gonna call it a show here. Is what we're doing.
Is this was that the end of his email?
Yes.
Okay.
Wait, actually, now I'm gonna double check. Actually, was it the end of the?
I think you just stopped doing it.
Oh no, that was it.
I just
that was
started
it.
talking.
That was the end of it. I'm done.
Check your CO2 detectors, everyone.
Okay, so this is what you guys should come away from this: is Xenogears and Xenosaga are a different kind of anime.
That's true.
One has slightly more detail on the face, and the other it's smoother and it's different.
That's
Thank
that's probably not where I would have gone with that, but yes,
If you want
Thank
your
you.
faces more detailed or smoother, you know which one to go with.
that's right. All right, so email is at simply creative people.
You're doing a great job.
I know, thank you. Simply creative people at
This is your
gmail.com.
22nd
You can't
episode.
cut off somebody after you just said you're doing a great job. You're the reason that it's a bad job now.
It was sarcasm.
She's explained that she's a great guest.
I know. Anyway, so the email is simplycreativepeople at gmail.com if you want to send us an email. The
Send them
Twitter,
emails.
that's right. The Twitter is at SIMCREAT. My Twitter is at Grigori Karpin.
At Harry Blank, SCP.
You want to give out yours? Do
SCP.
SCP.
you want to give out your Twitter, Kinch?
Oh, Joycean FB. That's it stands for Joycean Fart Boner. I've had a lot of people read that as Joy Ocean Fart Boner, and I don't know what they think of me, and they read it like that.
I don't know why that's any worse or better than the way it's meant to be read.
I mean, Joycean, like that's a funny because he was a pervert.
Joyce. Yeah.
Joycean.
Joycean
God,
FB,
ever.
because he loved his wife's farts.
Oh, I get it now. I've seen the. I know what you're referencing, and we cannot talk about it. We absolutely cannot talk about it.
He's got a lot of fart stuff in all his
No,
books, too.
no. We can't talk about James Joyce and
All right.
the most revolting thing.
You should end it at that.
Yep.
And I think that was you should end it at me saying, they got a lot of fart stuff in those. And then I think that should be, or me explaining that this should be the ending. Should be the ending.